Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we are thrilled to have you for our reunion show, Part 2. Part 1 was on Sunday, and for those of you who are not familiar, you can go over to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and you can watch any of our shows there. We also stream live there, so that's a great resource for you for education. So I'm thrilled that we have people coming from all over the world to take their 15 minutes in the spotlight and share with our audience and with us the value that they can bring. We have some very highly educated, experienced individuals who are on our team, and they are more than happy to have a chat with you about how they can bring value and help bring joy and goodness to your life. So let's get the show started. Joining me is a very dear friend. He actually is heating things up as he and his wife sent me some heaters. Since I haven't had any heat, I've been freezing. So I really appreciate him, and I appreciate his wife as well. Beautiful family. Red has been with me since the beginning. He actually has 3 shows here every Thursday. Imagine if you're coming for 15 minutes of your fame versus you have 3 hours pretty much of shows that you have to do, considering the before and the after. So Red is a veteran. He's a distinguished Toastmaster. He's a best-selling author. He is a publisher. He's a book coach. He's actually helped publish and coach me on all 16 of my books, which isn't easy, he will tell you. And he's also someone who really believes in the power of humanity. So let's welcome Red O'Loughlin to the show, joining us from Texas. Hello.
Howdy, Dr. Jacalyn. Warm welcome this morning compared to other mornings that we do business.
Absolutely. Yes. That was such a beautiful surprise. You're like, did you get the package in the package room? And I said, it's a free for all in there. I've you don't get any notice that there's anything there, but I finally did find it, and what a blessing. So thank you very much. I've got the heater over here, and I'm really appreciative that I'm not freezing.
Well, it's interesting. As we grow older, we fall in love with various things. I fell in love with my wife a long time ago, but long before I met my wife, I fell in love with chemistry, sophomore in high school. And I thought I was going to be a chemist. However, got my degree in chemistry and then got an invitation to Vietnam, so I never got a chance to practice chemistry. And then that led to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And along the way, I found out that I fell in love with math, and specifically statistics. And I started teaching statistics at night at junior college level for about 3 years, and didn't think much of it, and ended up getting another degree and then another degree. And I was working on my 4th or 5th one, I think my 4th one at that time. And I went and I talked to the stat professor, and I said, hey, this is what I do every day. This is what I did, at the college level. And in about 15 minutes, he waived 9 hours of stat for a doctorate that I was working on at the time in international business. And I don't know anybody else who's had 9 hours of stat waived just because of a 15-minute conversation, but that's one of my claims to fame. But about 10 years ago, my wife started, she was going through chemo for breast cancer. And no matter what I did, the side effects just, they were there. They kept getting worse. And fatigue was about the only one that I couldn't address. And I said, well, maybe there's something I can do. So I took my chemistry knowledge, even though I hadn't used it in 50 years, and started researching, well, what happens in the body at the cellular level? What can I do? Okay, well, this does that, and that does that, and that does that. And well, if you do this, you slow it down. If you do that, you stop it. If you do this, you speed it up. And so at that point in time in my life, I was speaking on self-improvement, motivation, inspiration, wrote a couple books, and I thought that was what I was going to go on. I was retired. Well, lo and behold, my chemistry came back. I started doing things. It worked. And my wife recovered quite well. She got her uh, end of treatment oncology deal saying, hey, everything looks good to us. And about a year later, in gratitude for her recovery, we walked the Camino de Santiago together. That's a 500-mile walk across Spain. We did it in 30 days, about 18 miles a day. And we both turned 70 on that journey. Well, I still use chemistry literally every day. I'm studying right now for a particular presentation I'm going to be doing on Thursday, and I'm amazed at what I learned 10 years ago on some topics and 5 years ago, and today. Well, that's interesting. I couldn't find that 5 years ago, but everything's constantly evolving, and that's one of the things I like about the chemistry field. It's static in the sense that, yeah, this will always do that, but we're always finding out new things. And when I find out something new, I love to share it with my audience, and I can share it via a blog, which my website's being overhauled again for about the third or fourth time, so I haven't done any blogs in a while. I did write over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn, most on health and wellness, and so my information's available there and also on my website. But as things go on, I'm starting to write more and more on health and wellness. My primary concern is longevity. I'm getting to be an old guy. And so what can I do to slow down age-related diseases? What can I do to help myself? And yeah, a lot of things are starting to wear out. Definitely there's something, just even 5 years, what has changed. So little by little, I try to capture what I think is of some value to my audience. And I say, hey, oh, by the way, did you know about? And so if you ever meet me in person and you say, what time is it? I'll probably build you a watch because I love to give the detail. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Jacalyn so we can continue on the show today.
Thank you so much, Red. That's fantastic. I love that you're able to capture the essence of everything that you do in such a beautiful package. I just want to say before we bring out our next guest, if you hear some jingling, it's my charm bracelet. It was my mother's. And so I always have something from either my mom or dad when I do these reunion shows. So that's what the jingle is. So our first guest for today is someone that I actually attended a course with. She goes by Zunette. She has a last name, but on social media, I am Zunette. So we will refer to her as Zunette. So we both took part in Philip Sykes's the British School of Excellence Train the Trainer program in London. And Zunette was coming in virtually through Zoom as she's in Africa. And what a classy woman she is. I mean, not only is she beautiful inside and out, but she's so accomplished. And she brings something as an etiquette and protocol coach. She brings a perspective that I hadn't met or heard of before because she actually is an attorney. And in the legal field, she saw a lot of room for improvement in terms of education of how to dress and how to carry yourself. So Zunette's an attorney, a conveyancer. She's also notary, and she's an etiquette and protocol expert. She is on a number of boards. She was recently certified for the Train the Trainer program by Philip Sykes and his team, Leanne, and the British School of Excellence. And she's here joining us. Let's welcome her to the show. Zunette, nice to see you. Hello.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello and good morning, or in my case, good afternoon to everybody. I really appreciate and I'm truly honored to be here with you. And thank you once again for this incredible opportunity to share with your audience. And I really appreciate introduction. Like Dr. Jacalyn was saying, I am Zunette from Zunette Etiquette Solutions. And about 13 years ago, I made the decision to focus on my true passion, and that is empowering and elevating others through personal image and etiquette training. And here I really need to actually thank our daughter, as it was due to her that I started following my passion. Now, I had an all-female firm, and I had at that stage 3 candidate attorneys. And our daughter is brilliant. She's very intelligent. And I can't remember whether I was in court or I was at the deeds office, but I was still in the city, and a brand new client was on its way there. And I realized I'm going to be late for the appointment. So I phoned our daughter and I said to her, listen, please go in, open the file, make the clients feel comfortable in the boardroom, offer some refreshments. I will be there within the next few minutes, but start asking questions. True and behold, when I walked in, our daughter was sitting there bare feet in the boardroom with these clients. So afterwards, I asked her, I said, Natasha, how could you do that? And she said to me, she's very artistic and we loved her for that. She said to me, well, this is the way I feel today. I want to feel the earth under my feet. So I said to her, but madam, we on the first floor, there's no ways that you can feel the earth. You're feeling my tiles. And then she said, very interesting, she actually asked me a very interesting question. She said, what authority do I have, or what not authority, what is my credentials that I have so that I can tell her how to dress? I'm not a stylist. I'm not an image consultant. And that is 13 years ago when I started my new image consulting. I went for a course, and today I'm certified stylist and an image consultant from both Colorworks International and by Biferial 4x4 system. And I also did with Dr. Jacalyn. I'm now a certified from the British School of Excellence, and I'm a member of South African Council for Business Women, member of Style Sorority. I served on the board of the International Image Association and on the board of the Helderberg Sunrise Rotary Club, where I steer the empowerment projects. Now, in my training, my philosophy, and I honestly do believe in that, I emphasize the importance of the know, like, and trust factor. This foundational concept helps individuals and professionals connect meaningfully with others, and they create a lasting impression. Now, you might ask me why. I get a lot of questions, why etiquette? And people tend to think that etiquette is only table manners, but it's so vast. It covers everything in your daily life. And if mastering your personal image and the etiquette can actually significantly enhance your professional and personal interactions. You must remember, in a world where first impressions, the first 5 seconds, excuse me, that somebody met you, they make an impression, and that's a lasting impression. You never, ever have the second chance to do a first impression. And if you want to break that first impression, you need to really work hard. So in a world where first impressions matter, the right etiquette can empower you to build stronger relationships and open doors to new opportunities. So I want to just give you a few examples on the know, like, and trust factor and how it's relevant and how it can help you build those lasting impressions. If you think about your outfit, let's first look at the outfit and how it impacts the perception that other people have of you. Your attire is the first thing that people notice. By dressing appropriately and professionally, you establish a clear identity and communication, and you communicate your personal brand. Make it easy for others to recognize you. And that is the know. They know you, they recognize you. And when people see that you take care of your appearance, it creates a favorable impression. It makes you more likable. It shows respect for the occasion and the people involved. And they like you. But they still need to build a trust factor. So the consistency is important for the trust factor. So consistent attention to your attire can build trust over time. When others see you consistently dressed well, they may perceive you as somebody who is competent, reliable, professional, and that creates a sense of assurance, and they trust you. Now, we have the guru of active listening, elevated listening here, and Dr. Jacalyn. And the power of body language and active listening. I really enjoyed your course as well. And it is so relevant. The power of body language and active listening, effective body language and active listening help you communicate your personal and professionalism. When you maintain eye contact, use open gesture, you make yourself more approachable. Then you allow others to know you better. And that is the know element of the know, like, and factor in body language and active listening. Engagement through active listening, such as nodding, paraphrasing, make others feel valuable. And they feel that you understand them, and that fosters likability. People appreciate being heard, and this connection can elevate their perception of you. They like you. Once again, consistency in your body language, maintaining a calm and open demeanor, demonstrate authenticity. And that is when your verbal messages and your non-verbal cues align. It builds trust, the trust element. As people are more likely to feel that you are genuine and reliable because they see the consistency. That what you say and that what you do is consistent, and they started to trust you. Another example that I would like to bring to you is networking. We all, at some point in our life, we go to a networking event, whether it is social or even for business. And the important thing is you need to be prepared with your introduction and engage others with wide-ended questions. Because you're going to this event and you're going to meet new people. So you need to have your questions ready. You need to know who you want to engage with at the networking event. If you're after a specific, the guest, host speaker, the keynote speaker, you need to have your questions ready. And then you need to help them to get to know you and your interest. You share your relevant experience or insight, and that establishes a foundation of knowledge about each other. You started to know each other because you share. You like wine, I like wine. You share that common interest. Now, the common interest creates a personal connections that also enhances the likability element again. So once you establish that you both, say for instance, like wine, you take that concept and you build on it and you share the similarity between you and that person. People like people who are like them. So they're going to like that you also like, and they're going to show me more interest. And that is the like element. So, but now you will ask me, how do you get the trust element in going to a network event? The most important thing for trust element is following up. If you promise to do something, you need to do exactly what you promised. Follow up after meeting somebody. Show that you value the connection, reinforcing trust. And by keeping engaged and in trust and meaningful engaging, you demonstrate your reliability, which is crucial for building the long-term relationship. And once again, the trust. And therefore, to me, the most important thing in all the aspects, and that is why I really, I have the philosophy, and I really, truly, in everything that I try and do, I always bring in the know, like, and trust element. Because if you know somebody, if you don't know somebody, you can't like them, and you obviously won't be able to trust them because you don't know them. So if you can work on those three elements, the know, like, and trust element, and make that whole factor, you can present yourself, engage with others, and nurture the relationship. And therefore, you empower yourself and those around you. And I truly believe that everyone has the potential to shine in their own unique way. Each one of us have a story to tell. And we need to show up and tell our story to the world. And each one of us have a calling. And I'm busy with another course with Adam on the camera confidence course. And we're working on the calling at the moment. And it's amazing to see that what my calling is. And this is my calling. It is so part of you. And if I know that the know, like, and trust element is part of me. And when I stumbled across it and I realized this philosophy, it just opened up my mind and it blew it. So by mastering the art of etiquette and personal presentation, you can transform your life and achieve your goals. Dr. Jacalyn, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And I really, truly look forward to connecting with the audience and helping everyone to elevate their personal brand. We owe it to ourselves to tell our story to the world. I really thank you.
Thank you so much, Zunette. And by the way, let's welcome Zunette as our newest elevated listener, joining our team officially at USA Global TV and Radio. Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, and I heard you share this before when we were at the course together, but the fact that it was your daughter who was the inspiration for you going down this path, and the fact of her being open to sharing that with people, I think that says a lot about the relationship the two of you have and how you're empowered to do things to help other people to come across in the best way that they can.
Thank you. I had to ask her permission first.
Well, that's good to know. Red, what questions or comments do you have for Zunette?
Comment and a question. Yes, maybe could even two comments anyway. I remember I first started getting involved in network marketing, and one of the speakers, very well known, and his approach was slightly different. In fact, I've had two different people. One of them was, let's say I'm interviewing a job, and Dr. Jacalyn is the interviewer. If my body language mirrors her, then all of a sudden her comfort level goes way up because there's something there that's, she doesn't realize it, but there's a very comfort level in, there's a word for that when your facial expressions, your manners, when you mirror somebody else, that endears you to them, even though they don't realize it's a subconscious feeling. So depending on how the situation is, if you're in 3 or 4 people, it's kind of hard to do. But if you're one-on-one, you're having a cup of coffee, depending on what the person is doing, if they're leaning over, you lean over. Yeah, you just basically mirror their body language. The second one is that the like, trust, and everything is a standard. It's gold rule, and that thing should always be obeyed. But sometimes you run into that special person who has, let me take care of that immediate problem right now, because that's nothing I want to have. It'll come right back. There we go. The ability to solve a problem, something that's keeping Dr. Jacalyn up late at night. You can't figure out what it is. And all of a sudden I have a solution. Whether she likes me or not, I have a solution. And so that's another aspect of the overall networking thing. So sometimes there are people out there, I really don't like that guy, but he has what I need. And so it's a rarity, but it does happen. And so it's, just another thing to throw in the quiver as to what you have. So if I happen to have a solution for someone, then okay, I still should like, know, and trust everyone. But it's just one more thing that I add to my like, know, and trust. So it's just, just been my experience in the last little bit of doing this, that, and whatever.
And the problem is with the know, like, and trust element, you can also, there's some red flags where you need to know that it can be misused, because you can get, bribes being paid and things like that. Because you know the person, you will accept the bribe. So there is some limitations, and you need to be aware of that as well.
Well, that's the ethical and moral part of you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Zunette, can you share with our audience where in the world you are currently located and what is it like there now?
Beautiful sunny day. We in South Africa, Western Cape. About from Cape Town, we about say 30 kilometers from Cape Town. Half an hour, even less.
Sounds like a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, it is. It is in the winelands.
Well, here we're bringing up your website, which is etiquette-solutions.co.za, and you can find that in the show notes there. So building trust through timeless etiquette, Zunette Etiquette Solutions. So Zunette, this is a beautiful website that you have here, a lot of great information for people, and of course your accreditations and opportunities for people to take their etiquette and manners, their emotional intelligence to the next level. The services that you offer, business etiquette, presentation and image, social etiquette. Look at all these wonderful categories here. And then, of course, group services also for the youth, for children. And, you know, my whole philosophy with the books that I've written is if we can get our children to learn how to listen, if we can get them to have etiquette and manners, when they're young, then we don't have to undo all the things that have been there since, you know, the beginning of time, like with us as adults. So you also have a Instagram page, which we have here as well. And it is I Am Zunette. And I love to see that we are streaming live on your Instagram page right now as we are speaking. So thank you for that. Unfortunately, StreamYard is not letting me share Facebook or LinkedIn. I apologize, but your Facebook and LinkedIn are also on your website and they are here in the show comments. So let me just bring that up again. And then we will ask you, we'd love to have you stay if you'd like, and you can chat with our next guest. So there's your website. And for our audio audience only, it's a tongue twister, it's etiquette, etiquette -solutions, SOLUTIONS.co.za. On Facebook, it's Zunette Style, and it's ZUNETTESTYLE, and Instagram, I Am Zunette, and LinkedIn, Zunette Luby. Do you say Luby? Is that your last, how do you say your last name?
Yeah, it's Libba.
Libba. Oh, okay. I was really wrong on that one because I just know you as I Am Zunette. So, all right, brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Zunette. Again, you're welcome to stay. We're going to bring on screen our next guest, who is also a team member. She's joining us from London. Her name is Helena Shard. You can find her on most major network news platforms as she is an expert when it comes to the royal family. She's also an expert when it comes to casting. She has her own shows here on USA Global TV and Radio, Royal Breaking News that she does with Ian Pelham Turner. She also has the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show with Ian Pelham Turner. And she's also an expert correspondent on what was the United Kingdom news and culture and will be transforming into something soon. She's an advocate for humanity, and she also is someone who really cares about health and wellness and mental well-being. Let's welcome our dear friend, Helena Shard.
Hello. Lovely to see you all.
Helen, I don't know if you've met Red, but here's Zunette as well. So
hi, Zunette. Hi, Red. Good to see you.
Hi, Helen.
So this is a morning for blondes, is that right?
It's what, sorry?
This is a morning for blondes?
I don't know.
I guess it is. I guess it
Not
is.
too
You're
sure.
the lucky guy today.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to start the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that we're all here in different places. It's amazing that we can come together. Helena, you are no stranger to the reunion show. You've been here before. And I just thank you because I know how jam-packed your schedule is. You have been bringing us incredible exclusive clips about the royal family before sometimes it even appears on the network news. So I truly appreciate that. And thank you for all the goodness and joy that you bring. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Helena in person in London when I was there in November, and we did some really fun things together. So thank you.
That's fine. It was lovely. It was so lovely meeting you. It was really, really good. And thank you so much as well for inviting me to join in today, which is fabulous.
You are welcome. Here, take this stage. You've got your 15 minutes to tell us how you can bring value to our audience all across the world.
Okay, so I'm just going to speak a little bit about me and what I do. So I'm just beginning with, I think, Dr. Jacalyn, you have sort of introduced me, but so I am a broadcaster, have been for some time, and royal photographer. I work with various global TV platforms. In fact, I joined Jacalyn when she was rapping with Dr. Jacalyn all that time ago. So it's amazing, so beautiful to see how the network has expanded. I work with various other platforms, GB News, Sky, Fox, you name it. So, and I do specialise in all things British royal family, but I have another hat too. And I think one of the things that drew me as well to Dr. Jacalyn is the ability to give people a voice. To give people a platform, possibly people that wouldn't have a platform. And I think all that time ago, Jacalyn, with rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, you did that then too. And positive messaging is really very, very important. Also, I believe in collaboration hugely, and we're always looking for new people to join us. I say us because I think that everyone that brings good into the world is, it should be a collaboration. And I know that we, having been speaking to, there's a new venture coming actually, so hoping to be launched on the United Nations. I come from a casting background to begin with, in the performing arts, entertainment industry. I decided work-life balance wasn't good because I was always working around the clock with different time zones. Interesting, I then go into broadcasting because obviously you've got the different time zones there as well. But I think what threw me into the royal family, and I feel very privileged to work with and have worked with the royal family and prestigious clients associated with the royal family. I studied photography at St Martin's School of Arts, then became a commissioned royal photographer sort of just after the casting. So I dipped still in and out of casting, but so that has led me to some amazing, colourful events, I have to say. I think everybody, I would say some time ago, negative news, I just didn't want to listen to it anymore. So I feel what I give is positive. I feel the world at the moment, there is a disconnect, an intolerance. And I decided, sorry, I've got a funny, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So again, I decided there's just too much good in the world, and let's share it. Let's teach, let's connect with people, lift people, give people a voice. It benefits community, benefits humanity, and it's about positive messaging and working towards peace. So I think I'm dedicated to fostering a more peaceful and enriched world. And I know, Dr. Jacalyn, that's something that you are passionate about as well. I'm working with, at the moment, we have meetings with the International Children's Peace Assembly, which actually, Dr. Jacalyn, and it's about children becoming ambassadors of peace and youth leaders. Moving back over, the benefits of the royal family, the British royal family, again, I want to share the good. I think they've taken a bit of battering at the moment, but we're so lucky here in Great Britain, the United Kingdom, that we have like 1,200 years of history of our royal family. Again, when talking about the royal family, I love to promote tourism and the fab culture that we have here in the UK. And again, it's about enticing people to the UK as well, to Great Britain. And I know that as a regional studies association, I'm never too sure how much the royal family bring into the economy, but I think the last read was something like 1.8 billion a year. I know so many people, I don't know, all over the world that love coming to the UK and seeing, I don't know, Buckingham Palace and all our rich culture. There's just so much to share and teach people. And remembering King Charles as well plays a vital, and our whole royal family, a vital UK diplomatic role. supporting the work of the Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office here and abroad. And of course, the whole royal family support this, support the King and national duties. They carry out such important roles, and also to do with charitable service in their own right. And I could speak about the royal family for a long, long time, but I won't. I think I haven't timed this at all. I'm just talking about myself, and obviously we can chat if necessary. But I just again love giving people a platform. I love talking about all things good and positive. I believe with our 24/7 rolling news, and our world is so frayed at the moment, there is too much negativity. But if we consciously teach and promote positivity, I think we'll be a much, much happier world. And I'm just going to end. I mean, obviously we can talk further, but I want to just end on the Princess of Wales. So that's Princess Catherine. We're so happy to hear that it's a breath of relief, really. We're so happy that she's in remission. Yesterday we heard that she was reflecting on her cancer journey, and we saw, I wasn't actually personally there on this occasion, but she was at the Royal Marsden, which is a hospital in Chelsea which specialises in cancer research, and it was just lovely to see her there speaking to lots of people that were undergoing treatment. We saw a lovely video that she released last September of her talking about what a journey it's been, her own cancer journey, and how she's taken a battering and how hard it's been. But there was light at the end of the tunnel. She said she wasn't completely out of the woods. But last night we heard that she was in remission. So that's great news. It's reassuring for all of us. It's reassuring for her family and everyone that's missed her. And I know lots of people here in the UK have really, really missed her. And just her kind words, you know, the importance of love and kindness, what she brings to positive mental health and well-being. And she has now become patron of the Royal Marsden. But it was lovely to hear what she met people who are undergoing treatment, as she was being sneaked in the back door. And she brought so much inspiration and heart. And people just loved seeing her. So it wasn't really about her being, you know, this princess. It was how down to earth and caring and loving she is, which is lovely to hear. So, and as we know, patrons lend their name and support any organisation. But at the moment, there's lots going on in the world. Again, I think it's about supporting people, which I know Dr. Jacalyn and her platform, USA Global TV and Radio, does so well. And collaboration is key. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no idea how long that was, whether it was 1 minute or 5 minutes or what it was, but thank you.
No, it was perfect. And I have to say that Helena is even more beautiful in person. She has the most flawless skin, and she's a true joy to be with. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. I see. I just realised I'm sort of halfway down the page, aren't I? I should be up a little bit. There we go.
You're perfect. So I get the pleasure of interacting with Helena on a regular basis. Red and Zunette, I'll start with Zunette. Any questions or comments you have, Zunette, for Helena?
I'll let Zunette go first.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say, Helena, I really envy you. I always I always say to my husband, I think I must have blue blood because I just feel connection to the royal family. So I really
come to the UK.
Yes, thank you so much, Zunette. Red, any question or comment you have for Helena?
Yeah, she sort of piqued my interest when she said she was a commissioned royal photographer. And I was kind of curious, what does it take to become one? And how many of them are out there? And just a little bit more information on what is that?
There's lots of commissioned royal photographers. To be honest with you, there are lots of people these days. I don't do as much of my royal photography as I used to, but I need to get back into it. It's when you're given a project to carry out, and you carry it out, and then your pictures are used. I had some amazing pictures from. I'm trying to think back now. I had a lot of pictures that went out. They normally just get, shown across the world. That's what happens. And once they're showed and they're published, that's great. I had lots of my pictures. My favourite event was the Prince and Princess of Wales, their wedding, which was phenomenal. And my pictures just went out there. And I have lots of very good clients as well who wanted various pictures. And yes, I delivered, so I was very proud of myself. But it's an amazing thing because you get to see the royal family. You do get to liaise with them. It's not like I'm sitting down having dinner and a chat and a cup of tea all the time, but it's it's fun. I do feel incredibly privileged.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Helena. Thank you, Red. Helena, something I'd love to have you share with our audience is that you've been on the United Kingdom News and Culture, which is changing into something else. But before that, Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich, and also the Royal Breaking News and the Royally Rich Lifestyle. Can you give our audience a sense of what these shows are about, what they can take away from watching?
So a lot of the shows, I'm just trying to think now. I'm going to start with, I'm just trying to think, goodness me, it goes back a long time. We had so many shows of Celebrate Great Britain, Royally Rich show, and a huge amount of shows for UK news and culture. I mean, as it says, there's a lot of it is learning about the UK, learning the richness of the country and what it has to offer, learning about the royal family and all its glory the last, over 1,000 years, I guess, but more modern in a sense. People like to know various things, and people can ask questions and obviously get answers to what's going on. I have privy knowledge from Buckingham Palace on occasion, so we get that sort of prior to things going out. So the UK breaking news again is what it is, and the Royally Rich Lifestyle show I co-host with Ian Pelham-Turner, who I believe is on after me, if I'm correct in the running. This is again, it's a similar thing. It's like a lifestyle show. We have guests. I think that there's a similarity between the shows. Again, we have guests that have something to share, that have something intelligent and great for people to learn from, and sometimes to join in. We love to have people who inspire others. I think that's so important, and people that have worked hard, possibly even people that have worked hard and it hasn't worked out, but they have the tenacity to keep going and then have something wonderful to present. So love having guests on the show, and that's why, again, we're always seeking new people to work with us. And I say with us sort of in a big way, because collaborative behavior, collaborative working with different people and platforms is just so important to work towards peace.
Thank you so much for that overview. And for anyone who'd like to watch the shows, you can go to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, or Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, or you can go to Amazon Fire. You can also go to LinkedIn, you can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram, you can on and on, E360 TV. So Helena, Ian Pelham-Turner, your partner, is actually going to be here very soon. If you can just let our audience know, you two have been working together for, is it 13 years?
No, it's longer. Every time I speak to Ian, it seems to get shorter. We have worked, I'm pretty sure it's something like 20 years, to be quite honest, but actually from a royal photography point of view, he's no longer a royal photographer, but broadcast royal photography, I'd say about 15 years. That's my feeling.
You actually gave me the honor of interviewing the two of you about how a team can stay consistent and not kill each other, basically working together for so long. Can you share with our audience some of those tips, how to work with a partner on a television broadcasting platform and be able to respect one another and still deliver consistently, regardless of what's happening?
Yes, we have had our moments, Dr. Jacalyn, as you know. I think knowing who you're working with is important. You know, I know his foibles. He probably knows mine, although I say I don't have any. You have strengths in different ways, and whatever your strengths are, you should shine with those strengths. It's very much about communication. Communication is key. Otherwise, you go completely mad. We've had our moments, but I think we've got through them. And the fact that we've worked with each other for so many years shows that something must be going right.
Absolutely. You're a perfect team, that's for sure. So Ian is backstage. We're waiting for him to turn his camera on. Don't be shy. Don't be shy now.
Yeah, he's very good. You have to just coax him not.
So he has his camera on now. So I'll just give an introduction. Ian actually reached out to me, I want to say it was 4 years ago. And since that time, he and Helena have really become and are incredible mentors for me and to me. He actually came up with the name of our platform, so I thank him for that. And we've had a lot of challenges back and forth because he's got great ideas, and sometimes I'm not necessarily on the same page, but the ideas are always fantastic. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Orlando. I think it was 2 years ago. I don't even remember. And then, of course, we just were together in London. And he has, I think, 57 years experience in broadcasting, even though he's only 40 years old. I don't know what his secret is, but he's really, he's telling me it's more than that. He's an advocate for women. And as I mentioned, he's been my mentor and he's a really good friend. So let's welcome Mr. Ian Palm-Turner joining us from London. Hello, hello.
Not TT. Well, hello.
You're on mute. Oh, there we go. It can't be with all this experience.
He's not been in broadcast for as long, but he's worked as a raw photographer for a long time, and then moved into broadcast as I've done. I'm trying to think how many years now. Probably about the same as me, actually.
How about that?
Broadcast wise, yeah.
But we can't hear from him.
I know. Wonder what's happened.
We'll bring him back in a second when he's off of mute. So
I wonder how we can advise him.
Yeah, because I tried taking it off myself and I can't. But while he's doing that, I did want to ask Helena, did you have any questions for Zunette as an etiquette and protocol expert? She's also an attorney and she's a style maven and consultant. She has her own business. She's been helping people for 13 years. Anything that you're interested in asking her or commenting on?
Wow, that's great. I'm intrigued. Are your clients, are they international? Or are you based in? Sorry, you're based in South Africa, did you say?
Yes. South Africa based at the moment. Yeah. I do have clients on their image consulting side that is in Chile and Santiago. So I do have on that side, but the etiquette coaching, it's just at the moment South Africa corporate clients and individual and groups. Yeah.
Fabulous. Does etiquette, does that sort of spread into business?
Yeah.
You know, here in the UK, where, well, for me, one of my passions, many passions as well, is, the world's in a very fragile state, and it's about promoting business and especially small businesses and getting people just to believe in themselves and just going for whatever their passion is. Taking that jump and trying to set up a business, because we need it. We need we need growth, and we have no business growth at all here in the UK. And I just, what would you advise people in this situation? Would you advise them to Just jump and go for it.
Yes, definitely. You need to live out your story and your passion. So I'll definitely, if there's something, and because we're very involved with Rotary as well, we believe in entrepreneurship, and especially in South Africa, if you can't, that small business, that's the way forward, because there's not enough jobs. We have a very huge people that's without jobs. So, yeah, that is, I will say, go for it. And we need the small business.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Ian Pelham Turner. Welcome. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Over and out.
Excellent. Excellent. You know me, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to anything with technology on it. As long as I can push a button, thank goodness, and I learned how to do that for many years, and then I then learned how to speak. that has saved my career and saved everything that I do in life as well. So first of all, I want to congratulate you all, because really, Jacalyn, first of all, bless your heart, fantastic. I have to say, I like the presidential flag behind you now as well. You know, is it true you're running for president next? Nothing would surprise me with
No, I am not.
Trump will have something to say about that.
Exactly.
You know, 2029 or whatever it is. This could be your year, Jacalyn. So I think. Helen and I were just discussing beforehand what we want to do this year. And always, we're in a situation nowadays where we always want to continue to give people a voice that haven't got a voice. And that's really our biggest sort of mainstay when it comes to doing anything with television. We've both been very, very lucky, working with you, Jacalyn, and working with some other great people at the same time. And I think, the reality these days is that if we can build communities, if we can create better relationships between countries, then that's great. And at the moment, we're working on a few new ideas. One is to involve with China that we can't talk about at the moment. One is to be involved with India, and one is to be involved with United Nations now as well. And we're hoping that we may have found a formula to get all our programming that we do on the United Nations at the same time. So we've got a really good year ahead of us. And do you know what? It's only been a few days since the start of this year, and I am constantly surprised with what's happening. The other night, I'm just watching Netflix. I'm relaxing. It's really cold here at the moment, and we've got a massive gas problem in the area where I live, where 10,000 homes have been turned off. So we have no central heating or any form of heating, from our normal central heating at the moment. So we're all sat under duvets and hot water bottles and whatever we can find, and we're just trying to find ways of keeping warm. And I'm just musing along, just watching this show, and the phone rings, and it's a call from, and I didn't even know which country it was, and it's from a guy from the Seychelles who said that he really wants to join us as well. And I'm thinking, my goodness, how did he find out about us? And he found out through a friend who has unfortunately died. I didn't know. In the first place, and now we could be doing luxury items from the Seychelles as well. So I think I feel blessed. I feel blessed that we can do these things nowadays. I feel blessed with the technology that's happening, and I think the reality from us all is be grateful for what we have. That's really, I think, the biggest message this year. Obviously, we want to move forward further, but just be grateful, as I am, for everything that's happening to me right now. And I'm having such a happy life. nowadays. And Helen and I, we work well together. Helena does her own things as well, and I do a few things. I think, the reality is that it makes the world, I hope, a better place with what we're doing. It certainly gives me, I'm 73 now, and just to correct Jacalyn, this is my 59th year, 59th year as a journalist. So next year is a big year for me. 2026 will be 60 years since I first came into journalism, and I think the makeup is pretty good. It doesn't sort of show too much the lines. I've been, thank God for Avon. No, I'm joking, but
Avon
and the cosmetics, should I say as well. But I think the reality at the moment is it gives me the bounce to get up in the mornings and to be happy with life. And let's pass it back to the other panelists. How do you think?
I'm sorry about 5'9" instead of 5'7", but congratulations. That's incredible. So does anyone have a comment or question for what Ian just shared? Zunette and Red, since you don't get to interact with Ian as much, we'll go to you first. Let's start with Zunette.
Ian, I would just say I can't believe that it's 60 years in, what's it, next year? Yeah. It's amazing. And I must say, that's one thing that we talked about, because we retired as well, my husband and I, but we still keep busy. And that's the main thing. If you can't get up in the morning, I said to him the other day, if I'm not doing what I'm doing now, what am I going to do? I can't just get up in the morning and say, what now? What today? So I'm with you.
I totally agree to that. And in reality, I think that when I came to 65, which is the traditional age for retirement in Britain, so 65 came up and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to retire. Okay, so after about 4 days of pacing the room up and down like a caged tiger, I'm thinking, I don't like this. It's boring. I want to get back to what I love doing.
Yeah,
do you know? I think the thing for me, working with Helena, working with Jacalyn, and hopefully working with yourselves as well this year to expand what you're doing. I've loved every single day of my working life. 59 years now, and I've loved every single day. Every day is exciting. You just don't know what's going to happen next. One minute at the back end of last year, we were looking at how are we going to do things. I'm a peace ambassador as well with UPF, and so, which is attached to the United Nations as well, strangely enough. And I go to a meeting and there are 2 people in the room, 3 people in the room, in fact, 4 people in the room when I think about it, who will change our lives even more for the better. And so I think the thing that I would say these days is, if you don't expect anything, things happen, and so, for me, it's an incredible period where I've always wanted to get information going into China, and hopefully that's going to happen now. I've always wanted to be into Africa and India as well, and it looks like those types of things may be happening this year as well. And in America, and what Jacalyn is doing, I mean, every week she comes up with a new strategy. Do you know what? I love people. I love people who will constantly move forward, and that's Jacalyn. So I know in a couple of weeks' time you're going to Houston. I want to go to Houston sometime. As well. Because I remember the days of Dallas, the TV show, and I actually met JR, Larry Hagman, when he came to London, and I worked with Larry Hagman when he came to London, bless his heart. And this was just after JR was shot, and we were all trying to find out who'd shot JR. He didn't even know himself because he'd filmed 5 endings, so he wasn't told either. And I think, the reality at the moment is America and Africa is such an exciting place. It's full of possibilities for the future. It has so many values that we can work with to actually increase and grow what we're doing. Because I think the more that we can build bridges across this world in a time like this, when there's so many issues going on in the world, thank goodness we've got this type of opportunity to talk about what you do. What do you think, guys?
I agree.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Before we go on, I want to have some additional dialogue. We have another team member who is backstage, and I don't like to keep people backstage. He is an elevated listener. He also has had a show, The Scottish Connection. He's also one of our expert correspondents from the United Kingdom News and Culture, and he'll be coming on board with his own show very soon. His name is Simon McDonald. He has extensive experience as a TV presenter. He's a celebrity chef and has cooked for numerous U.S. presidents. He's also a yachtsman, and he's an author. He's a public speaker. He is a family man, and he is a dog lover, and he does love his scotch as well. Let's welcome Mr. Simon McDonald.
Hello, everybody. Oh, I was listening into what you were saying there just now about Africa. Africa is a great land of opportunity. Always regarded it that way. I had the privilege of living there in Knysna in the Western Cape for 5 years, and it is just an incredible place. And there are more Scots in Knysna than there are in Scotland as well. I'm quite convinced of that. But they produce some bloody good wine there too. So there we are. But yes, I mean, fisheries and aquaculture at the moment is a very major part of my life, and I have a big project which we're working on just now in Africa, and I think you're going to hear it here first. It's the whole project's valued at about $116 million, so it's a big up, and so I'm heading this up for an organization and putting it together in primarily in Kenya, but it extends as far as Angola and Zambia and South Africa and Zimbabwe as well. So it's keeping me kind of busy at the moment, shall we say? But no, I've been now with USA Global TV for what 3 years and a bit, I think it is now, and worked with Ian and Helena there as well, and Dr. Jacalyn and Diane, of course, too. Who can forget Diane? She's just an amazing person. And it's been a wonderful experience doing the United Kingdom news and culture. I think it started in USA Global TV. I seem to recall back in the dim and distant past, rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And then came the United Kitchens as well with Ricky McKenna. That was good fun. Did a 6 series on that one. It was great fun. Cooking in my own kitchen here as well, which was laid out reasonably well for the work in hand. So exciting thing, it's onwards and upwards, and everything evolves and progresses. So new show is coming up, and it's watch this space. That's not the name of the show, but it's watch this space anyway.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Simon. So, Simon, I don't believe you've met Red or Zunette. Red is in Texas, and I'm actually going to be meeting Red in person. Super excited about that. And Zunette is in Africa. So,
I've met Red. Yes.
Okay.
Well, as we are now on the screen.
We've met virtually.
Yes. Zunette, no, did I recognize the South African accent with you?
I think so.
Yes. Good. Which part?
Yeah, we're Western Cape, Somerset West.
Oh, lovely. Yes, I know exactly where you are as well. I mean, a number of times I've touched down into Cape Town and then going up the pass on the N2 going over to Knysna as well. So there's lovely. It's just such a wonderful part of the world. Great people as well.
Best wine.
Big wine, yes.
I love
You have to come and visit. You have to come and visit and taste.
Oh, I mean, well, in actual fact, another announcement you've heard here first in public on what day are we on now? We're Wednesday. Yesterday, God, time is flowing. Yesterday at 6 o'clock in South African time, 4 o'clock here. my first great grandchild was born. So I'm suddenly having to get used to feeling really old and ancient now. I'm a great grandfather. Wow. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's fantastic. And he's a big boy, 8 pounds, 2 ounces. So, that's a fair size of a baby. And he was born in Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Simon, I forgot to mention that you're in Scotland for anyone who's just joining us. And I have a question for you. You know, we don't use any scripts here, so no one knows anything that I'm going to ask. So Simon, I'm going to put you on this spot a little bit. You know about the horrific wildfires in California. I have family living out there. And one thing that I understand is that the devastation is something that we can't even comprehend when you think about appliances that have burned up and toxins. And now everything on the coast is going into the water, so into the ocean. How does that affect the wildlife, the beautiful fish and all the sea creatures there? What do you think is going to happen as a result of these wildfires?
I mean, it's affecting more on land at the moment as well. I mean, there's, this part of climate change, so strongly believe it probably is. And there's all sorts of skeptics about climate change. But I mean, things going into the water that shouldn't be in the water, of course, it's going to affect the marine life and environment there as well. And it won't affect them in a good way. So, I'm a bit concerned about what's going to happen there offshore and close to inshore as well. You've got a lot of seals, otters, all the rest there as well. So it's a big worry. I mean, the human cost is, it's tragic. The whole thing is tragic, and it's just unbelievable seeing the shots of thousands and thousands of houses gone. I mean, they're saying it's over 12,000 homes have been lost. I've got friends out there. We've got one who was just about sort of encircled by the fires. And they're still on the escape route to the south. So fingers crossed that she's going to get out. And without her house being lost as well. And other friends over there as well who've lost many friends' homes as well. So it's it is a tragic thing. And I've been seeing scenes of wildlife there, and there's deer and bears and all sorts there getting caught up in this, and it's pretty horrific.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us that update. Any questions or comments for Simon?
I know Simon as well because I've worked in Los Angeles, and I've lived, believe it or not, in the Hollywood Hills in my time as well. So, to see that's really getting caught at the moment is incredible. But I think this year, that there's obviously issues, as you know, from a political stance, that we might be signing a deal with the EU again, which could affect fisheries. Does that affect you?
Anything that affects fisheries on a global basis affects me. Yes, it does. I think we shouldn't actually have come out of Europe in the first place. I mean, it was our biggest customer for trade. And, you don't turn your back on your biggest customer. You look after your biggest customer. And, with Brexit, there we said, they sang it up to the eyeballs about the fishing the fishing fleet will be just absolutely fantastic, and you'll be getting this, that, and the next thing. None of that came to fruition at all, and it caused major problems. It still is causing big problems, in particular with border control, where the fisheries has taken a bit of a hammering with getting product into Europe now, and even getting product from Europe into the UK. Border control systems there have created the biggest mountain of paperwork that we've ever seen before. To send a truckload of a big 40-foot container truckload of consignment into Europe would have taken one piece of paper, basically a delivery note, to go across the channel and go to the distributors. Now that truck might carry up to, say, 100 separate consignments, has to carry 7 separate documents for each consignment. So, I mean, you're going across there with the volumes of paperwork to deal with that, and the delays with inspections there when we're talking about live shellfish going across and fresh fish going across. Keeping that lot really fresh to the customer is proving to be a big problem. And it's the cost of that administration as well. I mean, somebody said it costs $25 just to raise an invoice, which is probably about right with all the time and work that goes into it. Well, if you're talking then of 100 consignments of 7 sheets of paper and invoices for each consignment, that represents an awful lot of money, which is needlessly being spent. I can get behind this one.
Do you think there's going to be, because obviously there's talk that there could be fishery wars between France and Britain, if there's an agreement in place, because most of the UK fisheries voted for Brexit, I believe, at that time, or the trawlers did, because it protected the waters. Do you think there's going to be a new fisheries war in the Channel?
You mean the existing fisheries war that's been going on for the past 200 years being escalated? Then the answer is probably yes. But I mean, there always has been issues with fisheries, in their waters or our waters and so on. I mean, our boats are actually out fishing, with an agreement with Russia in Russian waters, although that has to be stopped, sadly, because that's where most of our haddocks and cod's coming from nowadays. But we do fish in international waters by endless number of agreements. There are agreements going between France and the UK, although that can be quite tenuous at times. The French love a good protest, that's for sure. But that's been going on a while. So I think if there's any talk of fisheries wars now, it's an escalation of what's really been going on all along.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Ian. Okay, we're going to move on to bring our next guest, and everybody's welcome to stay. So I think this is a story you'll really want to hear. So I want you to imagine you are feeling under the weather. You go to your doctor, you trust your doctor, and your doctor tells you, I'm going to prescribe something for you. It's called Cipro. You go to the pharmacy or you have it delivered to you and you take this, and all of a sudden you are not feeling like you used to feel. You had an incredibly active, powerful life. You had a life that was filled with exercise and with joy and so many other things. And all of a sudden you find that you were struggling for your life. Our next guest, whose name is Talia Smith, is here with us today. And she is, I hope I can say this right, a fluoroquinolone toxicity advocate. She has created something called Finding Vulnerabilities. And she was on one of our shows with another team member, Julia Mejia. And when she shared her story, I asked her to please come and share her story with us, because I think it's something that we all need to hear, that we rely on people that we think we can trust. And sometimes we have to do our own work. We have to do our own research. And that's what Talia is going to be here talking about, in part, her journey, and also being an advocate, how she's helping other people. Talia, welcome to the show. Hello. Hi. Hi. Where are you joining us from today?
My hospital bed. Where I am all the time. Yeah, my apartment.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that this is a lot of effort that you have to put in to be here today, but I feel like your story is so important. So I don't want to steal this spotlight from you anymore. I'm going to go ahead and highlight you. Tell us a little bit about your background and your journey.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. So as you said, prior to me becoming sick, I had a great career, which I absolutely loved, at a large healthcare retail pharmacy company. I had a team that I managed. It was a very stressful job, but I loved it. I also was very healthy and active. I worked out every day. I was a runner. I took care of my husband, who's a quadriplegic. He's a disabled veteran from the United States Marine Corps. So I did all of that, a very busy life. And then in April 2021, I got a UTI, a urinary tract infection. I'm not someone that had those frequently. And again, like I said, I was very healthy, but you know what they are when you get them. So I called my doctor and I said, I think I have a UTI. Can I please have a urinalysis and a culture? I want to make sure this is actually that before I take an antibiotic. So obviously the test was positive, and my doctor of 10 years, who I trusted, prescribed me an antibiotic called ciprofloxacin. I didn't know anything about antibiotics or the class of antibiotics that this belonged to back then. But I said, is there anything I need to know about this antibiotic? You know, I'm not used to taking medication, so I just would like to know if there's anything I need to be aware of. And she told me, no, there's nothing you need to be aware of. This medication is safe and effective, and we use it all the time for urinary tract infections. So with that, I think like many patients do, I trusted my doctor. Again, a decade I was with her, and I started my course of treatment. My third pill in, which was my second day, I started having excruciating pain in my legs. And it was even hard for me to put pressure on my heels. And I said to my husband, something doesn't feel right. My legs hurt so bad. And he said, well, you've done a lot today. Maybe it's that. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Something just didn't feel right. But then as the day went on, I started experiencing more symptoms like pain, numbness, and tingling in all my extremities. I started getting these sharp shooting pains in my head. Even like my little cheek was shaking. And I had no idea what was going on. I started limping by the end of the night, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. When I wake up, everything will be fine, and that's that. So I went to bed, and when I woke up and I attempted to step out of bed, I couldn't. I couldn't put pressure on my leg. I couldn't walk, and I said, I don't know what happened. I have to go to the hospital. So I immediately went to the emergency room. And I told the emergency room doctor, and this sticks with me forever, that I said these exact words. I said, somehow I can't walk overnight. Something has happened to me. The only thing that's different is that I've taken an antibiotic, and I know it can't be that. That's what I said. I didn't know that antibiotics could do something like this to you, or even any prescription in general. And the ER doctor turned around immediately and looked at me and said, are you taking Cipro? So my heart dropped. If he was equating not walking with ciprofloxacin, I knew I was in big trouble. And he said, do you know what a black box warning is? Nope, I'd never heard of one. He told me what one of the black box warnings was for Cipro, but not to worry and to go home and rest and take ibuprofen, and 3-4 days I should be better. But clearly that is not the case. And actually I got much worse. And every time I went to the doctors or to the hospital, I was given medications that made me sicker, that are contraindicated with fluoroquinolones, but I guess doctors just aren't aware. I got worse to the point within 5 months I was on hospice. I lost over 50% of my body weight, weighing 60 pounds. You know, and it's a miracle that I am here today, but I am sharing my story. And at the beginning, I physically couldn't even speak. You know, when you're on hospice, I think we all know what that looks like. I was laying in bed with a Foley and on medication and just kind of waiting for the end. Because when a priest reads you your last rites, there's nothing really more final than that. But I'm here and here to share my story. And so after I got some strength back, I moved from hospice to palliative care after 9 months. I am still on palliative care. I still require 24/7 care for my survival. I can't get in and out of bed by myself. I'm disabled. But I have, for now, you know, dedicated my life to raising awareness for fluoroquinolone toxicity, which I'm experiencing and which many people experience. And it's very underreported. And I think that the way that we are all treated is very unfair. We have these, as the doctors call them, constellation of symptoms. We can't make sense of them, and neither can the doctors. So, they write you off. They, send you to psych, or it's just very unfortunate that you're poisoned by a pharmaceutical. And then when you're looking to that same industry for help, you're abandoned and you're on your own. And that's pretty much how it's been for me, just to figure out how to survive on my own. And since I've become an advocate, I've had lots of people saying I've saved their lives, and I have, videos, and I've done other interviews and stuff like that. And just to know that I'm making such an impact on other people's lives is something that I want to continue to keep doing. And maybe trying to look at this from a positive perspective is that maybe this pain and suffering is worth it if it's going to help other people not become like me. And my platform is not to be like, don't take a fluoroquinolone antibiotic no matter what, even if you're dying. My platform is to make sure that people are educated on the dangers of fluoroquinolone antibiotics, so they're able to make an informed healthcare decision for themselves. I was not lucky enough to do that. I did not see videos like mine. There was no informed consent on fluoroquinolones. I trusted my doctor, and here I am. And so that is how I connected with Dr. Jacalyn, is through an interview I did, I don't know, a month ago now, maybe. Jacalyn, is this kind of what you were looking for me to speak about and say? I just want to make sure. I've never been on this before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really admire your strength and your courage, and the fact that you are taking your experience and sharing it with as many people as possible to help save at least one person, let alone countless others. So I'm just interested, for the panel here today, were you aware of Cipro and being a black box drug? Everyone's shaking their head no.
What's crazy to me is that the first black box came out in 2008. So it's been a long time. And since then, there are 7 black box warnings. In 2015, the FDA stated that, there is this fluoroquinolone toxicity, and it causes permanent and disabling side effects, and that fluoroquinolone antibiotics should be used as last resort only. So much time has passed since this has come out, but there's such a disconnect between the FDA, who's, issuing these guidelines and gathering the data, and the medical community, and those of us that are harmed. Like, there's a disconnect along this whole way. Like, nobody is connecting and speaking. And that's what I'm hoping to do with my advocacy and my platform, is to make sure that people are aware. And we were talking the other day that I have this video out there that went viral at almost 16 million views. And you will, if you read the comments, you can see the whole rainbow, right? You have doctors, nurses, pharmacists, patients, all talking about fluoroquinolones and their experiences. And this is exactly what I've been looking to do. And as you read the comments, you can see some pharmacists saying, I've been a pharmacist for 20 years. I've never heard of that. Doctors saying, I've known this for 20 years. What do you mean you haven't heard of it? So just seeing that, disparity between the medical community and patients is something that I want to help fix. Me and my community, right? The whole Phlox community want to see that gap goes like this, and to try to prevent other people from becoming like me and, helping people if they are harmed like me, like what should they do going forward? So that's kind of like my platform as a whole. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you, Talia. Before we take questions from the panel, I want to bring somebody else out because he's backstage, and then we'll go back to Talia. So backstage, we have Mr. Philip Sykes, who has been with me since the beginning as well. He is the principal and founder of the British School of Excellence. And he was my host when I was in London, and that's how I met Zunette. And the work that he's doing to help people understand that etiquette is more than holding a teacup with your finger out or opening a door. It's about showing respect and kindness for people and just being a genuine person. If you can be anything in the world, be nice. Let's welcome Mr. Philip Sykes to the show. Hello, sir. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see all of you. Wow, what a fantastic audience we have here in front of me. Yeah, we're seeing Red there, we're seeing Talia, and I love what you were sharing, and obviously the gentleman from Scotland.
All right, thank you, Philip. We'll hear your presentation in a moment. So I want to go to the panel. So, you know, what Talia shared today, you said you weren't aware that Cipro was a black box drug, and you heard her story, how it's impacted her, and she started this community. What would you like to ask her? Red, go ahead, please.
Two things. Number one, there's a lot of stuff out there, and she's taking something that we always consider to be a fairly safe drug. I've taken it before. I'm sure a lot of people have. But something as simple as Tylenol. I was doing a study on that a while back. You know, there's 50,000 plus visits to emergency rooms, 2,600 hospitalizations, over 500 deaths a year, and yet it's not a black box drug. But the other thing is that sometimes you are taking something. I've been on this one particular eye drop for a while, and then all of a sudden you've noticed, I'm sure, Dr. Jacalyn, that I look like an alien. I have red eyes. I'm talking about really, really blood red eyes. And so I go to one eye doctor that I'm working with, and he says, anyway, long story short, I get to my regular ophthalmologist, and he says, okay, that's a reaction to this drug. Well, I've had that drug now for 2 years. It just took that long to get a reaction, some kind of allergy to it. And so just because you're taking something, you might get an immediate result. Now, one of the things I do, and I'm kind of nerdy about this, I read all the fine print on contraindications and symptoms and side effects. And because I take something new, I want to know, is it part of the approved list or whatever? And even sometimes then you can't find some of the stuff that's on the list. I remember something not that long ago, and my blood pressure spiked. I mean, like 230 over 150, 160 daily. And I could, what is it? And I did some of my research, can't figure it out. I talked to my pharmacist, and oh yeah, that's one of the side effects of that drug, but it's not even listed. So even though we have lists and we know what most of the stuff does, it doesn't mean that you're going to be exempt from it or hit you severely. I mean, I've taken some stuff that other people just knocked out with one pill. I'm taking a dozen of them, and it doesn't affect me. So everyone's different, and Talia apparently is super sensitive to this one, to a point that it's affected her life severely. And I almost want to cry because I can, as President Clinton used to say, I can feel your pain. But anyway, just pass that on for what I know about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I just feel like my whole life has been stolen from me, and there's like nothing I can do about it. So, well, there is. It's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I think Ian was just raising his hand.
Yeah, Ian, please.
Yeah, I have two thoughts for you, Talia. My first thought is that years ago I went through traumatic times. And I think I had to go through traumatic times to help people who are going through traumatic times today. And so in some way, this is a perverse way of looking at things at times, but in some way, you may now be creating an advocacy for people to be much more careful about what they consume in their bodies, food and obviously drugs as well. And secondly, a very quick story was that a few weeks ago, I'm having lunch with a friend and my phone rings and they said, Mr. Turner. I said, yes. And they said, it's my clinic. I haven't visited my clinic in 4 years. And they said, how are you? And I said, well, I'm fine. And it was almost like sounding like, are you still alive? You know, because the next thing she was saying, she said, are you taking any drugs at the moment? I said, no. You know, are you sure you're feeling well? Now, this went on for about 10 minutes. First of all, this conversation went on for about 10 minutes. And then she said, we thought we would give you a call. So I said, okay, that's interesting. And why did you give me a call? Well, she said 4 years ago you took a blood test that showed you had a kidney issue. I've never known about it. In 4 years, I've never known about it. So all of a sudden I think, okay, it's God calling me. This is my last breath. So I start sending messages out to all my friends saying, look, I may not be here for much longer, for goodness sakes, and I love you all. And the second thing that happened to me as well was that during COVID, I took the drugs that we were told to take. And I've taken them religiously ever since. And then again, recently the clinic called up and they said, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling okay? And I said, yep. And they said, because we know that you're experiencing high blood pressure and high cholesterol. And I'm thinking, well, how do they know that? Because I haven't visited you for 4 years. And then as I'm sat down and I'm having a cup of tea in a restaurant, and then two ladies sit next to me who are my age group. And one says to her, she said, she never guessed what's happened today. She said, my clinic's called and said that I've got high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Am I okay? And basically, one of the other channels I work with then did a study into some of these COVID drugs. One of them's now being banned. The one that we took regularly is now being banned. So as Talia says as well, and bless your heart, I want you to win, Talia. And you will win, and you will get back. But there will be a purpose behind you, I can tell you. I always believe that when you go through adversity, at the end of it is something miraculous that you're going to deliver to the world. So I hope you take that on board.
Thank you. I've made some pretty good strides so far. I don't know if you all are aware of what ICD-10 codes are. They're medical diagnostic codes. So if you go and you break your leg, you get an ICD-10 code for a broken leg or whatever diagnosis you have, mast cell that I have, right? There's an ICD-10 code for that. So here, I joined forces with Dr. Stefan Pipa. He wrote the book on fluoroquinolone toxicity, along with the Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Study Foundation and another patient advocate. And we presented a proposal to the CDC to get diagnostic codes for fluoroquinolone adverse reactions. So there are ICD-10 codes for all other class of antibiotics, but not fluoroquinolones, which is mind-blowing because the FDA says that they have the most adverse effects of any drug on the market in the US. Any drug, not just antibiotics. So we presented that, just matter of fact, to the CDC, and they got approved. It is approved. So October 2025, there will be diagnostic codes for fluoroquinolone adverse effects. And so finally, the first time in history, people that are suffering from this will have a correct diagnostic code, an ICD-10 code for medical billing. So I did all the work that I did on the project from my hospital bed. And it shows you that's how much I want this. That's how much I want change. So that's one of the big things that happened this year. We had Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day worldwide, October 22nd, this past October. And then right now I have an informed consent petition on change.org to have informed consent on fluoroquinolone antibiotics. So as sick as I am, I sit here on the side of my bed in my spare time and do all my work on my cell phone because this is so near and dear to my heart. And it's just wrong. And like you said, I'm trying to make something really good, really positive come out of this situation.
Incredible. Talia, I have a question for you. What other drugs are in this same category when people say they've been floxed? Are there other drugs besides Cipro?
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7. There's like Levaquin, levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, Avelox, Baxdela. There's a whole bunch of them. It's the whole class. And the other thing is it includes IV injectables, pills, eardrops, and eye drops. You can get fluoroquinolone toxicity from any of those things. I know multiple people that have gotten fluoroquinolone toxicity from one eye drop in their eye, and that was the end of them. So, people just really need to be aware of this, especially parents. And the eardrops for children, there are many alternatives to fluoroquinolone eardrops that children don't need to be taking something so strong.
Thank you for sharing that, Talia. Does anyone else, aside from Red and Ian, thank you for the questions, anyone else on the panel have a question or comment for Talia?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to say that, I really admire you, and you're fighting fit, and there's no doubt about it. And keep pushing, keep the publicity going to make people aware of it, in particular to make the authorities aware of it and the medical profession well aware of it as well, so that eventually the message will filter through and something will be done about it. But I really do admire your strength, your courage, and your tenacity.
Thank you.
I also just want to say I also admire you. And as a grandmother of 4 boys, I just want to say we need you. We need you to take this further. Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you all for your kind words. Red.
Talia, what is your road to recovery? What does that look like?
I don't know yet. I mean, I have certain treatments, and my toxicity is compounded with mast cell activation syndrome, which many people get after they have fluoroquinolone toxicity. So I've got those 2 things I'm dealing with, and doctors, when I say doctors, I mean naturopaths, functional medicine doctors. They're not able to give me anything concrete because I am such a severe case. So, yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting? Yes, Red, I'll get to you in 1 second. What's interesting is we represent, I think, 5 different countries here, and the healthcare systems are different in all of our countries. I wonder how things would be outside of the U.S. Does anybody?
It's not good.
No.
I've talked to people in other countries. You will not believe this. They are told they have a UTI and to go to the convenience store down the street and get an antibiotic. My head almost off when they told me that, and they showed me they're in the convenience store. It's on the shelf, and the little blister packs, it pops out like gum, and they took Cipro and they're floxed, and nobody knows what to do with them afterwards. I can't believe that. You can just go to a convenience store and get it in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. So if we think it's bad here, you should see how it is in other countries and the stories that people have told me. It's really, really sad.
Well, Talia, I can tell you that you have opened all of our eyes. Helena wrote a message. She had to leave. She's another meeting. But just for the people here on the panel, none of us knew about this, and you're bringing it to light. And all the people who are watching live on all the platforms and people watching the replay and then listen to it, thank you for what you're doing. And I'm sorry that you have to go through what you're going through, but you are changing people's lives.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your help, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay. I know you have something you have to do after this, but you're welcome to stay. We're going to go over to Philip Sykes when he unmutes. Philip is, as I mentioned, the founder of the British School of Excellence. And Philip, you're still on mute. You're still on mute. And he has changed so many people's lives across the world. We've had a number of his graduates from the Train the Trainer program. I graduated from there. Zunette graduated from there. Philip, tell us a little bit about your story. And also if you have anything for Talia before she leaves.
Well, all I can share with you, Talia, is, and I only came in toward the very end of what you're sharing, but I've picked up exactly, within reason, a fair amount of what you're dealing with, and I'm going to watch the replay as well as spread the news. Everyone said on here, Red and Miss McDonald, you've got to just keep flying that flag. That's all you can do, and keep banging that drum, and the drum will be heard. That's for sure. And we need advocates out there to keep letting people know how dangerous this is, because just briefly, I've only recently sort of spent a bit more time on the shores of the USA, and I'm pretty shocked to see the irregulation of so many ingredients that go into so many things, let alone the drugs that are available to people, but the food and that sort of thing. So we salute you and stay true to you and keep soldiering on and find as many people to back you as possible.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Talia. You're welcome to stay. As I mentioned, Philip, we're going to go to you for your information about the value that you bring to people.
What value do I bring, Dr. Jacalyn and ladies and gentlemen? I am a true advocate and believer of how we show up every single day and how we treat people, because this world is more fragile than ever before. And I truly believe that core values have been lost throughout the world for whatever reason. And I don't want to point any fingers, but a lot of it does lead into the advancements in technology. And we have sort of moved very fast with technology, but we've forgotten to work on those foundations that a lot of us, actually all of us in the room, would have grown up with, those core values and understanding of respect, kindness, and how to treat and behave accordingly, and how do we show up every single day. And so the British School of Excellence, formerly the British School of Etiquette, was founded very much on these principles. It was founded on actually very little to do with etiquette and manners, with hot potato in your mouth and all that. Etiquette and manners, along with your emotional intelligence, is for everybody, right across the board. And this is the beautiful thing. This is inclusion. This is not exclusion. But the core principles, the core foundation of the organization was found on a couple of really key pillars. And those pillars very much focus on, in a world where you can be anything, just be kind. Focuses on having a what can I do for you attitude. How can I serve you? How can I support you? Is there anything I can offer you? It's the ability to put people at ease in a very, very short space of time, to make people feel comfortable, to make people feel welcome. It's very much boils down to the wonderful Martin Kornfeld quote, is I truly believe that we all go out there on a daily basis and do a random act of kindness or someone's compliment. We can absolutely make a difference in this world. We can change the direction of where the world's going. There's one race, and that's the human race, and we need to understand that. We need to absolutely focus on where we're going in the future. Forget the past, be very present, but focus on the future. And the final pillar of this journey is that we all have a duty. We are like shepherds. We have to herd our flock, and we have to give our youngsters, the up-and-coming generations, the quintessential tools of understanding how to connect as human beings.
Thank you, Philip.
Sorry.
Philip was an incredible host when I was in the UK. He's currently in the US, but what a gentleman. And this guy's in incredible shape, can run up escalators carrying 2 bags. It's amazing. Philip, can you share with our audience that for people who don't know, what is emotional intelligence? And is it something that you're born with? It's something that you learn? You can read a book, you can take a course?
What a wonderful question. For me, emotional intelligence is possibly one of the most wonderful gifts you can share or give the tools to someone, because unlike our IQ, you're very rarely going to grow your IQ versus past the certain stage of life. Whereas the EQ is very much focused on our personal being, the skill set that we can adopt and we can learn. So, for example, empathy, our social skills, the understanding on how to handle our emotions much better, how do we connect and interject with people, how do we react? And these are the skill sets that as human beings we can absolutely read about. We can go on courses about. We can 150% put these into action every single day of the week. And what we are doing here is giving people these tools to really build good habits within their whole being. Now, when we talk about this as EQ is not something you just turn on and turn off. Same as your etiquette and manners. This is about building consistency in who you are. And every single one of us have the ability to wake up every single morning and make a choice. And that choice is, how am I showing up? How am I going to react, behave, and how am I going to put my best foot forward today? And that is a massive, massive choice. And that's a big decision to make, because it's very easy to wake up in the morning not feeling your best self. And we're all human beings, so that's understandable. We have those days, we have those moments. And what tools can we take to trigger ourselves in order to put our best foot forward? Maybe the best foot's not leaping as far as you would like it to leap. Okay, but you could still put the best foot forward. And that is the quintessential tool of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence takes time to develop. It's not something like abracadabra, boom, and the bunny rabbit jumps out the hat. It is something that you have to invest in. You have to invest in time, energy. You have to take on board programs, courses, and reading material. And then you have to put it into action. So that just is a thumbnail sketch. It's literally, as we call it, the tip of the iceberg. But I hope that gives people a very sort of basic understanding of the power behind emotional intelligence. And one final tool, which we share with youngsters right through to adults. I think the oldest person is way, way older than you wonderful people in the room, way older. She's in her late 70s, and we call it the 6-second rule. And that is, give ourselves a moment just to reflect before we react. And we've had children whose lives, whose families have changed because those children have adopted that, what we might think is a simple tool, but it is golden.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Philip. I really appreciate that. I just want to mention, I'll get to you in 1 second, Red, because I know Philip has something he's going to. Zunette and I have come through your course, the Train the Trainer program, and I cannot say enough about it, how professional everything was, how interesting everything was, that we got to engage with one another. And Zunette, even though you were so far away, but you were on the computer screen, it's like you were in the room with us. So Philip, thank you for bringing us all together in that way.
I can concur that. It was really felt like I was in the room. And, you know, when I tell my clients and my friends that you actually carried me around on the laptop, and it was amazing. So I really, really appreciate, and it was outstanding.
I love that you were in the pictures too with your certificate. They were holding up your certificate. We were all together. I love that. Red, what did you want to say to Philip?
I think one of the most important things Philip said was the take that moment. You know, part of that EI, emotional intelligence, is awareness, and a lot of us respond, and we're not even aware we're responding. We just do it because it's a habit. But if we actually slow down, as he said, as Philip said, and before you react, think about it, because that thinking may only take 2 seconds. It's not enough that somebody even knows that you're thinking. And it may be that, well, okay, maybe thinking of a good answer for me or whatever, but it's just that momentary awareness of what is really going on and how should you respond. And conversely, how have you responded in the past and how well has that worked out for you? I mean, we should be constantly learning. That's just part of my belief in life. And what Philip is talking about is super critical. That emotional intelligence is a major portion of our growth factor as we get older. And a lot of us are not aware of it, so we don't grow. You know, just pass that on for what I think it's worth.
Yeah. And if I could just really bounce off that wonderful example you gave, Red, I truly wish and pray that, and maybe there will hopefully in the near future become a time where all schools globally absolutely make emotional intelligence, etiquette, and manners, this what I call the 360, the sphere, absolutely their core curriculum, and then let them venture into whatever other subjects there are that they show interest in. Because I don't care what anyone says, but technology is fantastic, but it can't do what human beings do. And many years ago, there were some statistics that came out. There were 10 key skills that they said we need for the future. Well, it was pretty stupidly written and worded, because these have always been the key skills we've always needed. But only one of those things was technology. The rest were very much focused on understanding building your emotional intelligence, communication skills, leadership skills, diversity intelligence, decision making, and what's the word? Open mindset, building an open, broad mindset, and so forth. So really, absolutely 100%. And something that I want to share as well, and Zunette was privileged.
We're on the edge of our seat, Philip. What are you going to say? He is temporarily frozen, so let me take him off the screen. So, Zunette, as an expert yourself in etiquette and manners and protocol, what are your thoughts? I'm just going to share something. I find as I get older, I really not only have to take 6 seconds, it might be an hour, because you can become so emotionally charged by what someone says or does. And this happened recently. I'm not going to go into what it was, but somebody wrote something and I just thought, this person is not in control of their emotions. And it's very clear. And to be able to see that as a coach or as a human being, I decided I am not even reacting to this. I'm not responding to this, because then I would be going, I'm not making a judgment, but I'd be doing the same thing that that person is doing. So is it a skill that we learn, or it's just as we get older, we just give people more grace? What do you think?
I think it's a skill. We have a friend, she was in a motor vehicle accident and she had to teach herself to talk again. And she actually wrote a very interesting book, I Am Still Here. She was a radio broadcaster, but she explained that, and I'm not an expert, the parts in your brain that was actually broken, the highways. And it gets you to a point, say, for instance, she wanted to say, you look pretty, but she said something totally different. Give me that. Instead of you look pretty, she said, and she will shook her head. And the same thing I realized happened with my mother-in-law when she got older. It's exactly, as we get older, we just tend to speak our minds and just carry on. And it's because of that paths, that's what I heard, I'm not an expert, that's actually broken. So I believe it's a skill that you need to learn, especially as we get older. We need to learn to slow down, think about what we say or do, and always remember to be respectful and to give empathy. That is just my belief. And as I say, I'm not an expert on that field.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And again, there's no script here, so people don't know what I'm going to ask or what's going to be said. So, Philip, you were cut off there. I don't know if you want to go back to where you were finishing, but I was just asking the question, when someone puts something very negative out in the world toward you, whether it's in writing or it's verbal, and the 6-second rule sometimes to me could be an hour, or I may never speak to you again rule. I forgot to add that. So my question for you, Philip, is how do we continue to have our emotional intelligence and to carry ourselves with dignity and respect when we're being attacked by another?
It's taking on board that 6-second rule. And as you said, Dr. Jacalyn, it could be an hour, it could be a day, it could be a period of time that you might need to be able to digest that. And this takes huge work. And by the way, we're human beings. So if we do snap and we do very much overstep the mark or react in a way that maybe we even surprise ourselves, then we must also understand that there will be consequences and we must be quick to apologize, but not apologizing because you did that. And that's why I react that way. No. So I picked up very much what Zunette was saying. And Zunette, I have no doubt that you are a taskmaster and one can only become better at these sort of things. But what I was saying earlier, and I don't know where I was cut off, but while we were on the journey, and Zunette, you and I were privileged to seeing Dr. Jacalyn present eye-opening material on the importance of listening and understanding space and interjecting and not judging, and the power and importance of judging. And I know that was an eye-opener for everybody on Train the Trainer. And I truly believe, and this is not even trying to, push Dr. Jacalyn's program. No, it is trying to push Dr. Jacalyn, but not because she's a friend not at all. Dr. Jacalyn, that program should be instilled in every single organization, and every school. I think everybody out there should be doing those courses that you've so cleverly created. They are golden, and this world would be in a far better place if people took those programs on board and then implemented the learning from it.
Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate that.
I think, Zinette, you would agree with me. It was golden, right?
I fully agree with you. I fully agree. I actually, yesterday I talked about it and I explained about the example of the tattoos to one of my clients. And I explained that you need to listen and you need to. And I actually also pushed your course and I said, please go and have a look. And it's because it was profound. It was just amazing. And it opened my eyes to realize how quick we are to judge other people.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And Philip, you may not know, but Zunette has joined our team of elevated listeners. So she's officially a USA Global TV and Radio team member. And I just love the fact that this platform has been growing as it has because of referrals. So Philip, you referred Zunette, and Zunette, here we are today. We have somebody backstage who also has her own show, and she referred Talia Smith, whom we just heard from a few minutes ago. So Talia came to us to present today as a result of this beautiful woman. So I just want to give a little bit of an introduction. Philip, I know you have to run, but it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you, and we'll be chatting again soon. Bye, my dear.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next guest's name is Julianne Mejia, and she has done something that, I don't know, I've watched Shark Tank a zillion times. I see how hard it is to have something that you create because of a need, and she'll tell us about the need that she had and then what it's like to get that through the approval process. She also is an advocate for people who are not able to share their voice. She has some products that I know Red and myself are both very, very willing to come on board and say, yes, you need to order these products from her. So Julianne was facing a health situation, which I'll let her describe. And not only did she review what was out there, you know, the traditional medicines and then alternatives, she decided to create her own line of products to help people who are struggling and suffering with all kinds of symptoms and with situations where they're really in pain. So for me, I hurt my wrist. I think I was teaching spinning, a spinning psycho, because everything I do, I have to take to the next level. And she generously offered to send her products to me and definitely helped right away. Red will find out about your situation. But first of all, let's welcome our dear friend and our team member. Her name is Julianne Mejia. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with everyone today.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you today. So we heard from Talia. I don't know if you were able to watch her interview, but her, you know, the discussion back and forth. But no one here on this panel knew anything about Cipro being a black box or what could happen to you. And I know you hear about this regularly in the work that you're doing. You founded a company called Holistic Hemp Solutions. You have products that you are changing people's lives with. Tell us the backstory of how you got to be where you are.
I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for the honor of inviting me on this reunion special. It's a privilege to be here. My name is Julianne Mejia. I worked in traditional medicine, and unfortunately, I got injured working on the job. I was put through the ringer with the traditional opiates and pharmaceuticals. Not only did they not work, they made me extremely sick. So, you know, I drew the line after going to the compounding pharmacy. I was put on oral ketamine, and after that failed to relieve my chronic pain disorder that I developed from my work injury, I said there has to be a better way. So, you know, coming from a cognitive neuroscience and research background, I really started digging deep into the research about reflex sympathetic dystrophy and what really worked for this condition, because I had honestly, working in the medical field, never heard of it. So it is a rare condition. And unfortunately, the only, you know, traditional treatment options are opiates and nerve pain medications. So when ketamine failed to relieve my pain, I said there has to be a better way. At that point, I dived deep into the research and started looking into holistic alternatives for my chronic pain disorder. And I tried about 50 different topicals with hemp products and cannabinoids throughout the country, and none of them really worked as well as I wanted it to. And I said, from my research, I think I can do this better. So I really started playing around with the compositions. I had gone to a conference out in Eugene, Oregon, and met some wonderful people that had, already immersed themselves in the cannabis industry. So I was told by these individuals, hey, if you move out here, we'll show you everything you need to know about the plant. So I started as a trimmer and I worked my way up in the space. I had lab experience, started doing some business experience, and then really brought all of my knowledge back east and developed my own company because, to be honest, the travel was really taxing. I was going every 2 weeks from Boston to Oregon, and I was still in the process of healing with these compositions. And that's really what started me on my journey to healing and developing my company and my products. So thank you for asking that beautiful question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Julie, I'd really love for you to share with our audience, for people who have ideas about, you had a show about cannabis versus other names. Can you share a little bit about the distinction?
Absolutely. So cannabis has THC in it. The difference between hemp and cannabis products is the amount of THC. Hemp-derived CBD products have a minimal, if no amount of THC. So meaning that they are non-psychoactive to the user. So we have developed products with a cold processing technology that literally composes and keeps all the cannabinoids and all the terpenes from the raw organic material that we're working with and leaves them untouched in the finalized composition. So these products are non-psychoactive. They have no harsh solvents, no harsh preservatives. When you're working with sick individuals, you really want to give them less stuff to process out of their body. So, being a sick patient, I really wanted to bring a quality product to the market that really worked. So, our tincture is available for pediatric populations. We have kids taking it for seizures. It's safe for pets. It's safe for a wide variety of conditions. And, they really work, these compositions. And they're a great alternative to individuals that did not do well with traditional pharmaceuticals.
Thank you so much. I didn't know that about pets. That's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I have for you before I turn over to our distinguished panelists today is we know, based on what's going on in California and for so many other parts of the world, there's a lot of people struggling with mental health issues. And many times it can become so overwhelming because they have a physical issue, right? You find out something's wrong with you physically. Well, mentally, they seem to go in alignment with each other, right? So how have you been able to balance your mental health along with your physical well-being through this journey that you've been on?
Well, in addition to the cannabinoid therapies, gut health is majorly important. Everything that transpires in our body starts in our gut. So if we're eating crappy, unfortunately, eating inflammatory foods, a lot of people develop this condition called leaky gut syndrome, where the gut becomes permeable for disease and inflammation and a slew of other things. So in addition to the cannabinoid therapies, which really truly balance the body and work with the endocannabinoid system in conjunction with the immune system to support the body, that's a huge part about mental health that people don't really consider. They don't consider what they're eating. They don't consider what they're putting in their bodies. Even traditional pharmaceuticals have a slew of industrial chemicals that can create havoc on the gut and create other issues in the body. So I hope that's a little piece of, knowledge on that. I do tell everyone to not only work on their internal health, but mental health wise, coming from a psychiatric background, I think it's really important for everyone. I don't care what you do in this world. I think there needs to be a neutral outlet that you can speak to. So I absolutely recommend, holistic therapists. as well, in addition to healthy eating and lifestyle changes.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Zunette and Red, what questions or comments do you have? And again, I'll start with Zunette.
I would like to know more about the pets. In what instance will you give the product to the pets? For what treatment?
So we help pets with a variety of conditions. Both of our products are actually safe for pets. So I have a topical that has 5 different anti-inflammatory ingredients. So there's a number of pets that develop fatty composites in their body or cancerous tumors, skin conditions, just like we do. So, the products are safe for pets. They're safe for wound care, post-operative care. We're actually internationally patent pending for a number of different medical conditions for both pets and humans. So the tincture actually helps pets with anxiety, sleeping issues. So if your pet has separation anxiety, that's a great product for pets. And so there's a variety of different conditions that we help a number of populations with, both human and animal species, which is great.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so it's a really beautiful product. Both of them are safe for the entire family. We've had these tested as young as infancy. Kids that are teething, they use the tincture on their gum line, and they do really well with that. These are natural compositions that the body makes. So they're found, flavonoids and terpenes are found in foods, and cannabinoids can be produced within the system itself. So.
Thank you. And thanks, Jeanette, for the question. Red?
Julie and I had a couple of conversations way back, and then I came down with shingles in early June, and it erupted and was not a happy camper for a while, and it started going away, and the blisters had formed on, and then anyway, progression looked good. And then all of a sudden in early July, I get another round, except much worse than I had the first time. And Julie was very kind to give me a lot of moral support over the phone. We talked about things. I tried this, try that. She sent me graciously a couple of things that I tried. And I guess I had about 10 weeks of what I would call 24/7 intense pain. Just no matter what I did, it didn't matter. Nothing worked. Absolutely nothing. I could ice it down. I could try the electrostatic therapy with a little thing that vibrated and shocked and whatever. I tried all sorts of drugs. It didn't matter. Anyway, over time, I finally began to overcome it. I got this drug called Lyrica. Oh, whoa, amazing. I could sleep more than an hour. It was a miracle drug because all of a sudden 90% of my pain went away. I was rapidly approaching being a human again. But then all of a sudden my blood pressure went up 230 over 150, 160, and I had to get off of that in a hurry. And it took probably another month, another 6 weeks before my body finally acclimated enough that I don't need anything. And it was just, okay, and now it's an annoyance, it's an irritant. Yeah, I see it every couple of days. I was no longer waking up at 3:30 in the morning because somebody was stabbing me with an ice pick. It was a rough time in my life, and I'm going to say I lost about 5 months of 2024 because I was unable to really do much of anything at all. But Julie was exceptionally good about helping me, checking on me, talking about things, try this, try that, maybe you need to do this. And she sent me a list of things. I went out and religiously bought each one exactly as she had. And even though I wasn't getting immediate relief, I knew that something was going on because I knew what the products were and what they were doing. And it just, I don't know what caused such an intense reaction from the shingles. If you have advice, if you don't have the shingles vaccine, please consider it seriously. It's something you never want to experience. I did experience a little bit because I got over sunburn when I was taking care of my wife during her chemo. I got a little bit behind one of my ears. I was fortunate enough to get in to see my doctor very quickly. And he looks at it, it looks like a traditional case of shingles. And then, okay, he gave me some stuff, boom, it's gone in a week. I said, well, shingles isn't bad. Boy, I tell you, when I got it this other time, it was the size of my hand on my upper thigh, on my buttocks, my left buttocks and my lower left back. And even the areas where the rashes were not just like 5 inches away, just plain skin, it was like somebody was sticking me with needles. It's a terrible disease. It's a terrible thing to recover from. Anyway, Julie, I just want to thank you so very much. You were just inspiration to me during that time, and I truly appreciate your concern and your help.
You're so welcome. And we've had a lot of clients use our products successfully with shingles. So it really depends upon how systemic the infection is. And, unfortunately, you had a severe case. So, I'm so sorry that you went through the ringer with that, but I am always here and available to teammates that need support in the holistic sense.
Yeah, because I could sit there and I could say, well, what about this? Or what about that? And you say, and you'd give me some good scientific reason why. Okay, let me try that. And if you didn't know, you say, I don't know. And it was a good, honest discussion about things. And so, well, have you tried? Well, no, I hadn't thought of it. Well, yeah, I know that, but I haven't tried it. And so just the mere fact that we could have a conversation back and forth at a level that was very scientific but intuitive at the same time, and extremely helpful because, okay, let me just kind of see how that works. And I tried for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. And if I don't get a change, then okay, that's not helping me. Sometimes you can do something and literally overnight it works. But generally speaking, the solutions are not overnight. And so you have to get the body to adjust and accept what's there. And the other part is, how often do you do it? How large a dosage do you do it in? The medicine the doctors had me on, okay, you take this, anyway, totally out of context for whatever it was. It just did not
No,
work.
and that's very common, right? So people start traditional pharmaceuticals and it takes a long time to either have the body realigned and balanced, or B, now your body's mitigating the additives that are in the pharmaceuticals. A lot of times people respond better to using a natural composition first, than adding it to, the traditional cycles of stuff. We've seen more success with patients that have tried the natural approach first, and then if all else fails, then goes to a pharmaceutical. But everybody's body is different. So again, I'm not one of those people to say, hey, don't take the pharmaceutical. I personally had a terrible experience with Lyrica. I had no cognitive functioning, and that was just taking it a week. So I'm just happy that you did well with the compositions and that you were able to heal. And that's the goal. We want people to heal whatever way possible, whether it's a combination of a holistic approach or traditional approach. It's really what works best for your individual body and how you process things. So,
and sometimes you can sit there and literally mentally cancel out the pain just by meditation or by breathing there's a number of things that I tried, and okay, I can calm it down for a while, and then all of a sudden we had a hurricane. We lost electricity for 7 days. My access to ice disappeared, so the ice would calm things down a little bit. But it was a time of turmoil, and it was just anyway. I think we've talked earlier about sometimes you go through things and it's a good learning experience for later. And I'm trying to figure out for myself, what can I do to help others based on this experience? And so I'm in the process.
No, and it's great. And you know what, Red, the compositions that you're taking, the other supplementation, that's going to prevent it from coming back. So it's really about getting your body into balance where everything is calm, the nerves are calm, your system is functioning optimally, right, with your immune support, so that you're not having another resurgence of the shingles or any other illness that's going to attack the immune system. So
it's interesting because I had
sorry, I have to interrupt, but Zunette has to leave, and I just want to thank her for coming here. Zunette, I hope that you and Julianne will connect and see how you two can collaborate. But thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and I hope you have a beautiful evening, Zunette.
Thank you very much, everybody, and great meeting you all.
You as well. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay, so let's continue the conversation. but I want to bring up your website first.
Thank you. I appreciate
Sure.
it. It's an
All right,
honor and a
so
privilege to be here today.
it's an honor and privilege to have you for sure. We're looking at your website, which for people who are not able to see the show notes, it's H is in Harry, H is in Harry, solutions with an S.co.
Correct.
So give us a little bit of an overview about what people can expect to find here on your website, Holistic Hemp Solutions.
Well, you can definitely find education about my background and how I got into the space and developed my company. There's a slew of interviews, including your interview and Red's interview. I was also featured on Montel Williams' podcast and some other beautiful podcasts under the news and blog section. You can take a look at our products. Our products are internationally patent pending. Our tincture is patent pending for pain, inflammation, relaxation, COVID symptomology reduction and prevention. And we also have, like I stated before, patients that take this product for seizures. It is safe for pets for a number of conditions as well. Our topical is internationally patent pending for pain, inflammation, skin conditions such as psoriasis and eczema, and wound care, just to name a few. Everything is completely organic. We use the highest quality ingredients from organic derived hemp grown here in Massachusetts. So it's a beautiful composition of products. And our company, we try to do advocacy work. I come from a medical background. I was a medical advocate. I also worked on the legal side of things in regards to some of the legislation. I wrote a healthcare bill as well to support diabetic patients in the Commonwealth. So, we do a variety of things through the company. And, we just want to help people as naturally as possible because unfortunately, when I got injured at work, I was given no options or choices about my treatment. I was told, hey, opiates are the only way, and this is it. So that's a little bit about my company and what you're going to find on the website. Our products are extremely interactive as well. We're transparent. You can see all the lab results from each batch that we're producing under each section of our photos for each product. So that changes based upon the lab result and batches. And we try to be as transparent as possible. We really want to just educate and help people heal as naturally as possible. And we're looking to be a household name and expand globally. So we have that stuff in the works. And, this has been a beautiful composition to work in conjunction with USA Global TV and radio to get the information out there, to get other patient stories out there, other inventors' products. So we just really want to help educate the world and help people heal as naturally as possible without synthetic side effects.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I love your website. It's very comprehensive. Everything is right there. Anything specifically that you'd like us to go to on the website?
No, I think, the biggest takeaway I'd like people to listen to is just please, once you get injured, there are other options. You do not have to listen to traditional doctors. I'm not telling you to not listen, but I'm telling you to do your research. And we provide that. We provide that education. We provide the resources for you to look at other approaches because Western medicine isn't for everyone.
Excellent points. Thank you so much. I just wanted to share, I was told by my doctor to go on a specific medication, and it's a Pfizer drug, and I had to call, and you speak to someone, and then you have to listen to this recording. And I was listening to the recording, and I thought, there is no way in this world that I'm taking this drug. It could cause brain damage. I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. And then I looked at the clinical studies, and it was 27% effective. So I called back after I hung up right away. I did not want to be. I called back and I spoke to somebody, and I said, if it were you, would you go on this medication? And the guy actually said to me, I don't think I would. There's not enough evidence yet. And I thought, exactly. It had only been out. It's a counterindicated for something else. So it had only been approved for this other thing for 3 months. But I thought to myself, I asked people, and some people said, oh, I'd start it right away. Why would you take a chance of, getting sicker? I'm like, because it's 27% effective. It's only been around for 3 months. And I think, there's a lot of controversy around it, but I did get the first COVID injection, but I didn't get the rest because I know people who got really sick, paralyzed, et cetera. And everyone said, oh, it's not because of that. But if they didn't do anything different, then I don't know. So I love the alternatives. I love the fact that you're an entrepreneur and an inventor as well. And we have an inventor coming later today. She invented the ring thing. But Julianne, what would you like to leave the audience with today before we end this segment?
I would love to tell everyone that, I used to trust in the traditional system blindly. I worked in it. I believed in what I was taught. And what I can tell patients is to be your own advocate. Do your research before taking anything. If your doctor is prescribing you a pharmaceutical and not asking you about your diet, your lifestyle, your supplementation, they're just pushing drugs. That's the reality. I would love everyone to just take a look at their ingredients that they're getting. Read each of the ingredients of the additives that they're putting in their medication, and then really weigh out and do the research exactly like you did, Dr. Jacalyn, before taking anything, and be your own advocate. Doctors are people too. They make mistakes. I just don't want to see anyone end up, unfortunately, like Talia. Talia is completely disabled on 3 Cipro pills. Those are fluoroquinolines, and they should be removed from the market, unfortunately. I am not one of those people that says all pharmaceuticals are bad, all vaccines are bad. I'm a victim of traditional medicine, but it doesn't mean that all stuff is bad. I'm just telling people, be informed. Research and knowledge is power. And I thank you guys so much. And if there's anything that I can help with, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me directly at julie@hhsolutions.co. That's my email, and I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Thank you so much, Julie. Will you please drop your email into the chat? And while you're doing that, we're going to show people how to find your shows on USA Global TV and radio. So first of all, wherever it is you're watching, because we're on so many platforms, we really would love to get you to move over, if you're not there yet, to YouTube. And the reason being is because we get real numbers here. We actually know how many people are watching, where they're watching from, which shows are doing best. And we run a little, I don't want to say contest, but every week we announce the top 10 episodes for our TV show hosts. And then, of course, once every 28 days, we do the same thing. And then, of course, the ends of the year. So you're going to come here to USA Global TV and Radio. And by the way, we just crossed over 61,000 subscribers. Yay, that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So you're just going to come over here to playlist, and you're going to scroll down, and you are going to look for Julie's beautiful picture. Here she is. And this is her playlist. So you just click on that, and all the shows are there. We've made it as easy as possible. And we also have a second YouTube channel, which is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, which really started out as a backup in case YouTube decided to pull one of their famous, we're shutting you down for a week. So, but here's Julie's email address. Let me put it up on the screen right now. And here it is. Okay. Julie at hhsolutions.co. So please do reach out. I have to say, in addition to what Red said, Julie has to be one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. I mean, on the screen, these 2 people here, you can't meet finer people than these 2 people. They really do care about you. And I have felt the love from Julie and from Red in a tremendous way, times 1,000. So thank you very much. Julie, when can people watch your show live?
So we do once a month on the third Monday of the month at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. So we hope you guys will tune in on the 20th. We have Sherry Bennett. She is an advocate for women and is a survivor of sexual assault. It's going to be a really powerful episode, and I hope you guys will tune in. And Jacalyn, I just wanted to say to both you and Red, it's been an honor and a privilege, and I felt the love from both of you. And it's anyone considering having their own show, this is the place to do it. I have felt so supported and cannot talk enough positive feedback about USA Global. So thank you so much for all your love and support through this process.
Thank you. That was so kind. Thank you very much. And thank you for bringing Talia and all the amazing guests that you've brought to the platform, and Will. So we wish you a beautiful rest of your day. And thank you for spending part of it with us.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have an amazing one as well. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Well, that was really fantastic. I think everyone who is here so far, we still have some additional guests coming. They all brought some new level of information. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I was going to follow up with Julie. The fact that you're going to a doctor and he or she's a specialist doesn't mean they have the knowledge of what the problem is and a solution, because they have a moral and legal obligation to treat a problem when they're aware of it. But the treatment may be a pill in most cases. It may be surgery. It may be something else, some kind of therapy. But they generally don't know much about the the holistic approach, the nutritional approach, other kinds of avenues. Now, I've had experiences where I've provided documentation for friends of mine who are on a certain medicine. They take it to their doctor. Okay, fine. Then they get their medicine modified a little bit, or they get to take some. So in other words, I got some pretty good responsiveness from people that I've helped. My own situation has been at both extremes where, well, I'd love to know more. Okay, I bring them information and okay, fine. Let's take you off of this one. We had real good conversations, but I've also had one where my wife's oncologist is also a blood doctor. He has two different specialties, and he wanted her to do a certain thing to build up calcium in her bones. And I said, Doc, that doesn't work. And all of a sudden we just, started beating head. And for about 2 months, we didn't talk to each other. Although my wife would not speak to him, he had to speak to me because I was just the way that she wanted things done. And then after a couple of months, we were talking again. But the problem is everybody has an ego, and you just can't tell somebody that their baby is ugly. You have to be able to do, so yeah, I learned things over time. Maybe there's a better way of approaching it, but just because they're an expert in a certain field doesn't mean they know everything about that field. And it's in medicine, they're going to give you a pill, and the pill may be the right one. It may not be the right dosage. It may not be the right frequency. And okay, I still have the problem. Okay, double the dosage. Okay, take it morning and night. Okay. So they're experimenting with you a little bit because, as Julie said, everybody is different. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is the fact that because everybody is different, one pill doesn't solve all problems. And that's part of the issue. So under awareness and education, part of the programs that USA Global TV and Radio Network provides are awareness to various issues, and whether it's medical or otherwise, there's a lot of different information out there. But also there's more than an adequate amount of education on various things at many, many different levels for a worldwide audience. So back to you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you for that, Red. I appreciate it. And I just want to share, sometimes I don't want to say feel sorry for physicians. I don't think that's the right thing, but I know just from research I've done, they're typically booked every 11 minutes and it's all day. And I think you come in presenting certain symptoms and they just go, boom, I got somebody else. I'm putting them on this prescription. Bye. See you next time. And you really have to be your own advocate. Recently, and I think I shared this with you and with Julie, I got a call from the doctor's office, the hematologist, that my platelet count was very high and that I needed to come in right away. And I was actually on the speakerphone. My friend was with me in the car and I said, wait a minute, can you walk me through this? I've never had a problem with my platelets. So anyway, I went in for the appointment. I was sitting there like a nervous wreck and the doctor came in and I said, listen, I just want to share with you, this is what happened. I tried to get an appointment. So now it's like 2 or 3 weeks later before I could get in. And he looks through my chart. He goes, you don't have any platelet count problem. He goes, oh, we were looking at someone else's test results. Just like, oh, it's raining, now it's sunny. But for 3 weeks, I'm sitting there, looking up every possible doom and gloom of what it could be. So in a way, I feel like the whole system needs to be revamped. And that's why I think it'd be interesting to talk to people in other countries, which we have with the National Health Institute and with, what is the one in Canada? I forget. But it doesn't matter. It seems like every country has their own challenges, but I love what Julianne is doing because it's giving people an alternative. And sometimes you can't even get in to see a doctor. If you want to go see a specialist, you might have to wait 6 months or so. Meanwhile, you're in pain and you're afraid it's affecting your mental health. So the fact that there are people like Julie out there who's so lovely and so sweet, I think makes a huge amount of difference. So thank you to all the Julies out there in the world.
Yeah, when I came down with the shingles, first thing I did was I showed up at my dermatologist's office as they were unlocking the door. I didn't have an appointment that day, but they worked me in early. In 10 minutes, boom, I'm out. I've got a prescription of something, but at least I know what I have because I had no idea what this rash was. It wasn't responding to my own treatment. But if there was just a virtual doctor, they say, hey, this, and you get an answer. Well, okay, I have an answer. At least I had timely communications because, as you say, you wait 2, 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever you had is over. But in the meantime, the anxiety you go through is not needed, and it just something that can be prevented easily. Maybe sometimes it's just a simple phone call. I went in the other day. My wife had a dermatology appointment. I had this thing on my shoulder. I said, I just want somebody to look at it and tell me. So I had to wait. They saw my wife. I waited. Boom. The person that was seeing my wife got tied up a little longer. My dermatologist, who has probably one of the best bedside manners of any doctor I've ever known, came in. He looked at it and said, well, it's 1 or 2 things. Do this. I'll come back in 10 days, or, in 10 days, it's going to be nothing, or you come back and we'll do a biopsy. Okay. I was in there 5 minutes talking to him. He's, we're gone. But that is not the common thing. I mean, I went to a pain specialist for that shingles, and I could have a reasonable conversation with, well, I tried this and this and this. What about this? Never done that. I was talking about red light therapy. Was that something that I could use for nerve pain? Well, he was very honest up front. I've never tried it. I've read about it, never ever tried it. I said, well, I'm thinking about buying a red light. He says, if you have some success, I would love to talk to you about it. So some doctors are really there to help you, and they're hard to find. They really are.
Very true. Very true. There are some who really have great hearts. So, Red, as we're moving into the next section of our show, I'd like to just take a few minutes. You actually have 3 shows of your own, which is a very tall order for someone to do every single week in and week out. And I think you've been doing it for over 3 years and maybe have taken off, I don't know, 2 or a handful of times. You take this as a commitment, as a priority. You're always available. You'll say to me, how can I help you? Wherever you need me, Dr. Jacalyn. When I asked you about this, you're like, yes, wherever you need me. And I know it was early. You had to get up and you're like, I don't care. I'm doing it. So can you talk a little bit about the shows that you host here and what's in it for people who want to watch or for people who want to be a guest?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so very much for that opportunity, Dr. Jacalyn. First show I do is 11 o'clock on every Thursday. Indeed, my shows are every Thursday. I have 3 back-to-back, 11, noon, and 1 p.m., all Central Time. The first one is called The Corner Bookstore. And The Corner Bookstore deals with authors and any aspect of that industry. If you're a publisher, you're a publicist, you're an editor, you're a writer, you're a proofreader, you're a cover designer, it doesn't matter. You have some aspect of that business. And we talk about, let's say it's an author. That's generally most of the people I have on there. But sometimes I get publicists on there. Sometimes I get other ones. But let's say you're an author. And we'll talk about your authoring career. When did you start writing? Why this genre? What do you have the passion for? When did you start marketing your product? How successful have you been? It just sort of leads itself down its own road. As Dr. Jacalyn said a couple times already on the show, we don't have scripts. I have notes that when I research somebody, they are whatever. I just have a single word there that, depending on the progression of the conversation, may or may not even want to bring that topic up. But it's always something that deals with that person so that I can make that person more important to the show, that they have some major contribution, some super value that they're adding. So when we're talking about the books, why this particular cover? And they'll go into their rationale for it. Well, who did you get the cover from? How long did it take you? Me as a publisher, one of the biggest problems I have is getting a cover that meets a time schedule for somebody's book to be published. The rest of everything seems to fall through the cracks pretty well. But that particular one with the cover, it just seems to be, it's not everyone, but it's more than just a few. So that's one that I know that if you're publishing a book, it's an important criteria to look at. So that is the kind of person I'm looking for on the corner bookstore. Just go to USA Global TV, go on to usaglobaltv.com, hit book your session, go down and look for the corner bookstore, and then just click on the time there, book me. It'll give you time, you sign up and provide that information. And that's what I do with that particular show. Now you can say, well, I have a business that came from this one. In other words, I took my business as an author and now I'm using it. And we had a perfect case here recently, singer, songwriter, Grammy nominated. She has a book, she has songs, she has everything, but she has made a brand name for herself. And as such, my show called The Wise Ones, which is noontime, I'm looking for people who have wisdom to share. They have value to add. And that value could be in any kind of business. Several of my people are authors that now have an entrepreneurial aspect to them. I'm not as concerned about how they wrote, why they chose that genre. I'm more concerned about, well, how did you develop this business? How do you do your marketing? What do you do to promote yourself? What kind of success have you seen? What doesn't work? So we're looking at a business. Now, I've had program managers on there, lawyers, I've had financial people, just a variety, well over 150 different people on there. And so we're talking about you, what you created, and how that is helping people. And so from a business perspective, you may be an author, you may not be. You may be a business person that we've never talked about being an author, and you have 4 or 5 books because it's just part of the nature of your business to have that. But my focus is, how did you get the level of success that you have? And this could be somebody in their 30s because they have a unique situation, or somebody semi-retired in their 60s. It doesn't matter. So sometimes I talk to people. I talked to one yesterday, Dr. Jacalyn told me about this veteran down in Miami, and we chatted on the phone a couple times. And okay, I love to be able to chat with you a little bit on the phone to kind of get a better idea, but not necessary. There's information you fill out when you register for the show that talks about, these are the things that I offer, these are the aspects I'd like to talk about. Here's my website, here's my social media. And so from that perspective, on the Wise Ones, what wisdom have you learned over time that helps? And one of the questions I love to ask somewhere along in the program is, what do you do for fun? Because sometimes we get so many people who are so focused on their business, it's a 24/7 kind of focus, and they never take time out for fun. And I mentioned it the other day, I think a couple of days ago on the reunion show. We had a lawyer on, just came back from 6 or 7 weeks over in Africa, photographing big game. That was part of the safari he was on. And I asked him the question, he says, and I never knew this, I know this guy for a fairly long time. He says, Argentinian ballroom dancing. He loves to do it. Well, that was kind of, so we went down that road for about 15 minutes. And ironically, 2 weeks later, I have this program manager on that I knew from my military luncheons that I go to. And he had just opened in Houston, where I live, an Argentinian ballroom dancing studio. So it's part of his program management and the things that he learned how people can help themselves down the road. We talked about opening that business, and it was his passion. So the program goes almost any direction. I've had some interesting discussions on dogs, because this lawyer, financial planner, also takes care of Great Danes. And so part of her business is her law business, part of it's retirement, but also part of it is a dog business that she has 6 or 7 Great Danes. And we talked about how well that business marry up to what you're doing, or it's just a passion. It's something I want to do. So sometimes we have these passions that become a business. We talked earlier tonight about starting a business, I think, with Zunette. And okay, start with something you have a passion in. Well, sometimes we don't always have a passion. We get forced into something. And I was forcibly retired from Halliburton in 2007. I reached some magic age, and they said, no mas, no more. And okay, the things I'm doing today are things that I would never even think about doing back when I worked in industry, because they weren't something that was important to me. Now I'm in areas where I have passions that I can use on a daily basis. And so the next show that I do is called Talking Heads. And one of the passions I have is being able to research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I want to know, why do things happen? When I worked for Halliburton, I did a program called Taproot. I was their primary Taproot investigator. Something failed, and why did it fail? Well, the first thing is, why did it fail? Okay, well, why did that happen? Okay, well, why did that happen? You go down about 7 levels of why, and you come up with what we call a root cause. Well, the same thing is, okay, let's say that I'm 77 years of age. I fell, I broke my hip. Well, why did the hip break? Well, because the bone was brittle. Why was the bone brittle? Because it didn't have calcium. Well, why didn't it have calcium? Because of my diet. Well, what can you change to get more calcium into the bone? Okay, well, that will work, but it's not getting it there, it's keeping it there, because that's a entirely different process of not the same as getting it there. Keeping it there relies on a whole set of different circumstances. And so it's part of the solution is fixing the problem and then keeping the fix. And so from my perspective, when I'm talking about various things, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about inflammation. I used to do a series, and if I was talking about inflammation, it'd be 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and I'd break it down into a lot of detail, and I would have about a 20-minute show, and then a little bit longer with intros and outros. But now I'm doing a full 40-minute show, and I want to cover a topic. So I said, now I have some level of expertise in a number of different things. What would I do if I found out today I had cancer? What would I do today if I found out I had X, whatever that X is? And sometimes the topic is, well, I think recently we did, how do I bulletproof my health? How do I improve my immune system? There's a lot of things that, what would I do is something that, because I have a lot of knowledge about it, I'm going to go into some level of detail. So if I'm talking about inflammation, well, it might be inflammation, chronic low-level cellular inflammation that we never feel. It may be some level of inflammation that we can feel, we don't know what it is. So there's a little higher level of that, and the body's responding to it from an immune perspective. And then maybe it's a higher level because I injured myself and I have inflammation, swelling, redness, pain, etc. So there's lots of different levels of inflammation. So I want to go through each one of those, talk about, well, what is it? What causes it? How do I know I have it? What options do I have? And kind of explain in the best level that I can what I would do in the event of having that. Now, does that mean you should do it? No. It just means it's awareness and education. What I expect is, and I generally tell people in most of the shows, is don't just do something, go talk to your doctor first, especially if you're on a med. If you're on some kind of medicine, do not just arbitrarily make a change. So go talk to your doctor, say, hey, I heard about this, I read this, here's an article I brought in, I would like to do this. Well, doctors, as I mentioned earlier, have a moral and legal obligation to treat something. Let's say I have high blood pressure, and I go in there and he says, "Oh, I'm going to prescribe this." And you say, "Whoa, whoa!" Rather than go on a prescription medicine, what if I lose some weight? What if I exercise more? Those are two non-medicinal practices that are recognized as lowering blood pressure. So the doctor will say, "Okay, I'll give you 3 months. Come back and see me, and let's see if any of that worked." Well, I've had a lot of success with being able to talk to the doctor about something, or he gives me a medicine and I continue doing my research. I come back in 4 months, 6 months later, and I said, "Doc, I don't think this is really what I should be taking." And I give him my reason why. I provide, documentation, and we've come to some good conversation. Okay, fine, I'll take you off of it, or fine, we'll change this. Or sometimes, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show, my wife called me an alien on what she watches all my shows, but I had red eye. I mean, blood red eyes. But it was an allergic reaction to an eye drop I was taking. But I've been taking that eye drop for almost 2 years. It just took a long time for that allergic reaction to manifest itself. So I saw my ophthalmologist earlier this week. He said, that's caused by this. I've seen it too many times. Everything I had matched exactly what he's seen by other people. So he took me off of that. About 5 days later, my eyes are starting to clear up a little bit. Boom. And so I will see him again in, I can't remember the date, but 3 weeks down the road, I'll be seeing him to make sure everything's fine. But in the meantime, another eye doctor that's treating my dry eye that I've had for years and years did highly successful job about it. In fact, I'll actually have him on my the Wise Ones program, because I am so impressed with how well he runs his business and how he's doing this dry eye treatment about a 96% effective cure rate. And so I want to have that. But he said, talk to your ophthalmologist about this kind of laser surgery, because it may eliminate not only one set of drops you're taking for glaucoma, but maybe both of them. So I talked to him about that. He says, "Yeah, we'll be more than happy to do it." Like I said, I've done 5 or 6 already this week. It's something we do routinely right here in the office. You walk out, you're fine. But he says, "I can't do it while you have that much inflammation in your eyes. There's too much swelling and other things going on. So we'll do it after you're fully recovered from that. In the meantime, let's try this other one," because he explained to me how the glaucoma works inside out and outside in as far as the flow of fluid goes. So, okay, fine, I have a better understanding. I like to ask a lot of questions about stuff when I'm there. It's just part of my education. So, but the program Talking Heads, right now I've got several programs lined out, but these are things that are of interest to me that I think are of immense value to a lot of other people, because I think a lot of other people, well, I didn't know that. I wish I had known that earlier, or I would love to talk to my doctor about it. Maybe I can get off of this medicine. A lot of things out there that we talk about. So those are the 3 shows I do. I do the Corner Bookstore at 11 o'clock Central on every Thursday. I do the Wise Ones at noon every Thursday. And then I do Talking Heads at 1 p.m. every Thursday Central Time.
Thank you so much, Red. I feel like we were just on Talking Heads. That was fantastic. I love all of the education and awareness that you bring, especially when it comes to longevity and also doing your own research, being your own advocate, not being afraid to ask the doctors questions. I know a lot of times people are terrified. Write it down. Even though we don't use scripts here, write it down when you go to the doctor and check off those questions. So thank you again. Red, we're going to move on to the next part of our show. For those of you just joining us, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 47 minutes. We've had a number of really incredible people here. And we have someone backstage who is also amazing. Also came to us as a referral. We were talking about that earlier. And Scotland referred Kimberly Schaefer here. And Kimberly is the founder of Ring Thing. And if you're like me, I'm obsessed with working out. I'm always taking my jewelry off. And then I'm like, where the heck is my ring? Yesterday, I had an amazing shock that my bag that I use all the time it has a zipper in the bottom of it, and it was open. I was like, oh my goodness. So you have to have ring. Kimberly also is someone who is very persistent because it took a lot to get to where she is today. There are a number of obstacles that she had to overcome. And she has a show here on USA Global TV and Radio called The Persistence Payoff Show. In addition, she is very much involved as an advocate, helping for people who have been sex trafficked across the country, but I think there's specific areas. So she is someone I really want us to welcome. I want to bring up her website. Let me do that now, and then we can, here it is. So you can see exactly what the ring thing is. Are you familiar with ring thing, Red?
I have never heard of them before, actually.
Okay, so let's take a look. This is what I love. We're bringing awareness and education. Okay, so here's the ring thing. If you see here, it makes perfect sense for anybody who is traveling, anyone who is taking off their rings to do something. I know she has a contract with rock climbing companies so that you're not allowed to wear your rings when you're rock climbing. So you can see there's different layers there that you can separate. You can put the rings in between, and then you put the top on and you screw it down, and then you can attach it. It has a little keychain on it, so you can attach it to your inside your bag, or you can put it in your luggage. You can put it on your purse like it is here. So I think that this is something that everyone should consider, because if you think about how much you love the rings that you have, or maybe it's an engagement ring, it's a wedding ring, and if you were to lose that, you would just be completely devastated. So the ring thing here, you can read about it. It's waterproof, which I love. I have a ring thing that it's blue. It comes in different colors. And I know over the holidays, Kim had them hanging off of a tree, which is great. So they can double as an ornament as well as fully functional. Here's a video you can watch about them being waterproof. And I'm going to stop there. Red, any questions or comments you might have about ring thing before we bring Kimberly out, as she is backstage?
No, I'm just kind of absorbing information right now. Sounds like a great way of ensuring that your ring is still available when you want to put it back on.
Exactly. I know you like to absorb things. It's great. Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome the host of the Persistence Payoff Show. She's an inventor, she's an entrepreneur, she's an advocate. It's Kimberly Schaefer. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here. You're joining us from California, and thank God you're safe.
Yes, thank goodness. You know, in San Diego, we're about 100 miles south of the fires, but we are getting some of the smoke in the air. And so it's just really, it's just tragic to imagine that there's that much smoke that it's making its way to us. We are in high wind situation and the same dryness here. So everyone's on very high alert. But so far we've been safe from the fires.
Well, thank goodness for that. And thanks for updating us with that. You know, it reminds me, if you've been on the highway, let's say here in the East Coast, we have I-95, and there's an accident, and the accident might be 10 miles ahead, but the traffic is completely backed up. And I feel like that this is just the beginning of what's going to be happening as a result of those wildfires in terms of ocean contamination and how it's going to impact the creatures living in the ocean, air pollution, and how it's going to continue to travel across who knows what length of sky.
Yes, absolutely. And definitely our hearts here are with them up in LA. And there are a lot of efforts underway to gather supplies and donations to take up there. So we feel very connected to our northern neighbors.
Absolutely. I mentioned too that I have family living there, right in Malibu, my one cousin. So he's keeping us updated on what's going on. And again, our hearts go out to everyone. Yes. So Kimberly, I know you have a PowerPoint presentation. If you'd like to share that, and Red and I will drop off of the screen.
All right. Thank you so much. And to do that, do I just go to the present button?
Yes, just go to present. Okay. Red, we'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. As soon as I see it, I will drop off as well.
Okay, let's see. Sorry.
It's okay.
Just take one moment here.
Yeah, I'll take you off just for a second while you're doing that. So for any of you who are watching, we have two guests who are coming up after this, and then we will be saying goodbye for the 2025 reunion show. This is part 2. So if you missed part 1, that was on Sunday. And once again, it's been another opportunity to learn. We've had some incredible people here today. I learned so much that I didn't know. And I think that for the one presenter, all of us were just shaking our heads. Talia Smith, she was talking about black box drug, Cipro, that she ended up taking 3 pills and it totally changed her life. She ended up in hospice fighting for her life, and she's still fighting, and she's an advocate, but we didn't know anything about Cipro. So that's the value in these shows, that you're getting education that you might not be getting anywhere else. So please go to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, and also Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and subscribe. Let's check back with Kimberly and seeing how she's doing.
All right.
Hi there.
Great. Hi. So I believe I've got my screen sharing, so I'm hoping that it's ready to go.
Yes, except when I see it, I just see the two of us on it. So you might want to change it to what it's going to go to.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Sorry.
Welcome. It's okay.
Let's try this.
It's okay. And Dr. Lord, we see you backstage as well. We're looking forward to bringing you out. And actually, I'll bring you out right now just to say hello. You can say hello, Dr. Lord. You're on mute.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, this is a surprise. Hello.
Yes. Well, I don't like to keep anyone backstage, so I'll do a proper introduction for you in a moment. So we're going to have Kimberly's presentation, then we'll go over to you. How's that sound?
Sounds terrific. Enjoying the conversations.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. All right. So oh yeah, I see it now. Okay. So let me bring you up on the screen, and you can let us know when to bring up your presentation.
Okay, you could bring it up anytime, is fine. Yes, thank you. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I have recently joined USA Global TV and Radio. I'm the host of the Persistence Payoff Show, and it's just been a wonderful experience so far. And I appreciate all the support from Dr. Jacalyn and from the network as well. So thank you for that.
I'm back again. Sorry. Can you go to full screen mode down at the bottom? Just go the little presenter. I think it's right here.
Full screen.
See, watch the cursor. Just go over here to the bottom and just click on this, if you can see that.
There. Okay. Oh, on the PowerPoint itself?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
All right, great. Okay, let's do that. Okay, great. Is that better?
It's the same, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm very sorry. This is my learning process here. I apologize about that. Let me try one more thing. I'll go down to the bottom. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Jacalyn. I can't figure that part out. So I apologize. So I wear a couple of different hats. One is the host of the Persistence Payoff Show, and the other is the inventor of the ring thing, which is a patented waterproof ring holder that I invented. That has literally been a dream come true for me. And I'm really excited just to share with you more about that journey and how it all developed. So just a little bit about me. I grew up in Northern California in Chico. I went to graduate school at Chico State and got my master's degree at The Ohio State University. For people who went there, the is very important. And I had a terrific 33-year career at UC San Diego. I was a research administrator. I was the administrative director of the Center for AIDS Research for 15 years and director of clinical operations with the Alzheimer's Disease Cooperative Study for 14 years. And I got to work with some of the world's leading scientists, and it was just an incredible journey for me. I retired in early 2021 and have been working on the ring thing full-time since then. The idea for the ring thing came to me in 2013, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I brought it to market in 2021. So it was an 8-year development and ramp up process that that was really a great journey. As I mentioned, I am the host of the Persistence Payoff Show, and I'm also an active Rotarian. I'm a member of the La Mesa Rotary Club, and I am the immediate past chair of the District Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. That's a cause that's very close to my heart, and it's really important to me to give back in any way that I possibly can. So let me start by just introducing you to the ring thing. It's a small, compact, personal ring holder. It has a base and a top. Inside the base, it's padded so that your rings don't bang against the bottom. And each ring thing comes with 3 silicone divider discs so that you can safely stack your rings and they won't bang into each other. You then twist the top closed and you can clip it very easily to bags, water bottles, your purse, your keys, or anything else that you would like. It's very durable. It's made out of the same material as Legos. And so you actually can stand on it and it will still work. The only difference with this and Legos is that it doesn't hurt when you stand on the ring thing, but it hurts when you stand on Legos. But it's extremely durable. It's so airtight that it's waterproof and it floats. So it's so airtight, not only does water not get in, but that means that dust and dirt also don't get in. I can't market this next point, but I will share that it has been said to me by clients that they find that the ring thing helps to maintain the silver in their rings because it's airtight and air can't get in, their silver rings tarnish much less, if at all. So that's another feature of it being airtight. It is customizable on the bottom with company logos, so it makes a wonderful gift for clients, for customers, or for companies to sell themselves as part of their branding campaign. And here are just a few pictures of the ring thing in action. So again, you can clip it to your water bottle, to bags. Here's a picture on the lower left of the ring things floating. I have been at vendor events and had them float for 6 hours, and I've never had one sink. So they're incredibly waterproof and buoyant. People sometimes ask me how many rings you can get onto a ring thing. I have gotten a stack of 6 bands on a ring thing. So it just depends on the size of the rings. In the lower right corner, here is a stack with 5 bands on it, 5 rings. These are all big. I have big fingers. So these are all size 9 and 10. And I've got 5 on there, and there's still room for more on the top. So in terms of the development of the ring thing, as I mentioned, I started it in 2013. And the idea first came to me when I was at the nail salon and I was getting a manicure and I had nowhere safe to put my rings. And I was stuffing them in my pants pockets, in my purse, and sometimes laying them on top of the manicurist table, but none of those were very secure. And then as I looked around, I realized like everybody in the salon has the same issue. And then it came up for me when I was at the gym and I had to take my rings off to lift weights or hiking, and my fingers swell when I walk and I wanted to take my rings off. So I just thought, there has to be a way. And I started thinking about it. My first model, I shaped it out of a paper towel, like origami. So it was just a little design, and I don't have it anymore, but I sure wish I did, because that's where it all grew from. And at the time, I was the administrative director of the Center for AIDS Research. So I was working in a very high pressure, time consuming job. And I just decided, I'm just going to give this a shot and see what happens. I'm going to work on it slowly. So the next year in 2014, I hired an engineering student at the university to help me with the design. And just to show you how times have changed, that was just when the first 3D printers were coming out. And he helped us get one. The university got a 3D printer. And the first model cost us $100 to make. And I think now you can probably get a 3D model made for $8. But at the time, it was groundbreaking to be able to hold it in my hand. We refined the design and kept refining it. In 2017, I filed a provisional patent application and got that going. And then in 2018, I established the parent company, which is Bring Things Inc. I also that year filed 3 patent applications, learned about injection molding, filed for a trademark. And 2 years later, I received the patents and the trademark and really started learning about manufacturing. it was really important to me to have the ring thing made in the United States. So I did find a manufacturer in the US. And in 2021, I held the first ones in my hand. It synced up perfectly with me retiring from the university. I brought the ring thing to market, and I've been working on it full time since then. I got set up on Etsy and Amazon, and I learned about social media, and I'm still learning about that. One thing I would say is that working with scientists, they're very direct. And so for 33 years, that was my world, was being very direct. So my inclination is to say, here's what it is, here's what it does, it works great. But it turns out that that's really not a very good marketing strategy. So I'm just learning how to still tell the truth about it, but really make it interesting to people so that they can see the benefit of it. And so far, I have sold more than 25,000 units. It's still manufactured in the United States. And here I am talking with you. So here are a few more pictures that I wanted to share. A couple of interesting things. So, these pictures are at the gym, at the boxing gym, at the beach. This gentleman in the top center is Tiger Smalls, who is my boxing coach. He is the former world featherweight champion. And you'll see on his t-shirt, I don't know if you can see it, but his t-shirt has Muhammad Ali and a young boy boxing with him. And that young boy on the t-shirt is Tiger Smalls. And Tiger grew up in Muhammad Ali's gym. So, and he uses the ring thing to keep his California Boxing Hall of Fame ring in, and he loves it. He has 2 of them, actually. The photo over here on the upper left is from Miss Ohio last year. Her mother gave her a ring thing for her Miss Ohio ring. So this picture is her Miss Ohio ring in her ring thing, and she actually took the ring thing with her to the Miss America pageant. So that was a really wonderful event also. The ring thing has been featured in BuzzFeed Shopping more than 29 times, and it's just wonderful to have them highlight it and show all the different ways that it can be used. It was also featured in Ranch and Coast magazine, which is based here in San Diego, in Rancho Santa Fe. And I sell it through a number of different channels. One is through my own website, also on Amazon, Etsy, Fair, which is a channel for small shop owners where they order materials and items. Independent jewelry stores. I do have an independent jewelry store in the Midwest who has ordered 600 from me over the last 3 years. And they order 200 a year with their logo on the bottom. And they give it as gifts to their newly engaged couples. And they say their couples love it. And so it's a wonderful way for them to help their newly engaged couples keep their rings safe. There are also jewelry stores who sell them directly to their customers. Jewelers Mutual has purchased them to give to their customers. In rock climbing gyms across the United States, retail stores, and spas. So there are a few lessons that I've learned and I'm still learning, and I wanted just to share and touch on those a little bit. The first is we're never too old to try something new. And I certainly have had that thought myself, that am I just too old to do this? Maybe it's just time to sit down and do something else. And I just kept coming back to, no, I want to try. I don't believe that we're ever too old to try something new. And so I'm so happy that I made that decision and that I'm pursuing it. Another lesson I learned is to always have a ring thing with me. So especially in the beginning, I would find myself in situations where I was talking to someone, maybe in a store or just out in the world about the ring thing. And they'd say, oh, wow, can I see one? And then I would look and I did not have one with me. So now every purse I have has at least one ring thing clipped to it, and I always make sure to have one with me. Another lesson is the importance of just to keep circling back. Sometimes a no is a no at that point for a vendor, but things change, and just keep checking back in with them, not in an annoying way, but just keep that connection going. And that feeds into the next point, which is that relationships matter. And, you can establish relationships with potential vendors and your existing vendors. And whenever I can, I am a client of the people who sell the ring thing. So I also will try to be one of their customers. it also helps when I'm going to a potential customer for me to be able to say, I have this, whatever it is from your shop, and I love it. And then they know that I'm not just someone who's coming to them cold and trying to make a sale to them, but I actually have that relationship with them. I would also say get in touch with your inner woodpecker. And I've decided that my own spirit animal is a woodpecker, because I just keep pecking away at things and keep working at it. And, I've learned not to give up. In addition, clarity is so important. Sometimes it's easier to be a little bit vague about things, or it's uncomfortable to be clear, but it's so important to have clarity, both for the people that you're talking to and for yourself and your own processes. I have found a wonderful mentor through the SCORE program, which is a free mentoring program that's available across the United States. And he has been instrumental in guiding me. SCORE is made up of mostly retired business people who want to give back. And so they don't have any skin in the game, so to speak, other than helping their mentees succeed. And it's been a great experience. And there are a lot of different sources for mentors. So I would just say, whatever works for you, find a mentor. Also, don't take rejection personally. For me, that was really hard in the beginning. I had really thin skin. If a potential vendor said no, or someone said no, I thought, oh my gosh, I would sort of fret about that for a while. And then I've learned, you never know what's happening with them. Maybe they're just rebudgeting. Maybe they've had some things happening that just doesn't make it possible in that moment for them to work with you, or maybe it just doesn't fit with what they're doing at that time. But it's never personal. And so I've gotten much better about that and have much thicker skin. I've also come to see that you'll never get it all done, especially as a small business owner. There's always 36 hours a day worth of work. And so you'll never get it all done. So it's important to just prioritize at the beginning of the day what you want to get done that day. What are the priorities? And get that done, and be okay with having some loose threads at the end of the day. Another point is to give back as much as you can. And I'll talk about that in a minute, about how I'm giving back. But there's all kinds of different ways to give back to your community or to other people. And I feel like that's really important. And then the last thing is just to have some fun every day, whatever it is. Even if you're just being silly by yourself, working on social media, just make sure to have some fun. And in terms of giving back, you can give financially, you can volunteer, you can donate product to causes that you're interested in so that they can sell them at their sales. For me, my cause is human trafficking. So I donate a portion of each sale to anti-human trafficking nonprofits. I also serve currently on the District 5340 Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. I volunteer on work projects, and I also donate ring things to them when they're having their silent auctions at their own events, just to help them fundraise. And you can just find what works for you. There are different ways to reach me. One is through the website, ringthing.com. The Instagram handle is up. It's at ring_thing_. I'm on Etsy with Ring Thing Designs, and you can always reach me by email at kimberly@ringthing.com. So that is a summary of my journey and where we've been. So, Dr. Jacalyn, is there anything else that you would like for me to cover?
Thank you so much. That's outstanding. Let me bring Red back. We have pulled up your YouTube playlist here, the Persistence Payoff Show. And I'd like to announce that your show has been #1 of, I think, 3 weeks in a row, possibly. And also for the top 28 days. And I looked at it and it was #1 again. So I don't post until Saturday. So fingers crossed. I know.
Wow.
So congratulations for someone who is brand new to us, that you would take the top spot is huge.
Wow. Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Jacalyn, I ascribe that to your leadership and your team doing the SEO and helping and guiding me. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Well, thank you for being here. Don't leave yet, if you would. I want to bring Dr. Lord back up, and Red, you're on mute. Hi, Dr. Lord. How are you? Good to see you again.
There we go. Trying to unmute. Hi, good morning.
Hello. So before we go
Wow.
on to your presentation, Dr. Lord, any questions or comments that you have for Kimberly about ring thing?
Well, super cool invention. I was taking off my ring to put on hand lotion. I was like, I need one of those.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's really neat. And boy, I'd love to talk more with you about the human trafficking piece. So we'll have to find a way to connect. So
That would be great. I would love that.
Kimberly, question I have for you, then we'll go over to Red, is I remembered you said that you can order them and then have your logo put on the bottom. I mean, how cool to have USA Global TV and Radio stamped onto the bottom of that. So is the process, if you're buying in bulk, is it different than if you're buying individually? Do you, I mean, obviously I know you, but I'm saying for other people out there, would they contact you directly or go to the website and just put in 10, 20, 50, whatever, 100?
Yes, thank you so much. They can contact me directly. The minimum order for a custom logo is 50 units, and there's a small fee to get the logo, a one-time fee to get the logo template set up to be able to stamp on the bottom, and then it can be used in the future with no additional cost. So I'm happy to talk with anybody. The manufacturer is great to work with, and they can put them out in about 2 weeks, so it can happen very quickly.
Fantastic. Well, I think I'll be placing an order. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm glad that you mentioned
Wonderful.
that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic.
Yes, I'll talk to you about it further. I'm excited too. Red, what would you like to ask or share with Kimberly?
I have to know, absolutely have to know, what kind of woodpecker?
I think, it's a really good question. I need to learn their different names. The one with the red head, the red on top, which actually, I'm not just saying that because of your name.
It's interesting how much noise they make. I remember when I was down in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, visiting my sister down there. She worked for the government. And I've never seen a woodpecker peck on a coconut tree, but you're outside. And then sometimes my wife and I walking along a canal, and you have, they make themselves well known, but if you're not paying attention, sometimes you never hear them. But I love the way you use that. So great visual part there.
Oh, thank you so much. And my Christmas gift to myself, I'm not wearing it right now, but I got a little pendant with the head of a woodpecker on it. I think I'm going to make that my daily wear necklace, just to remind myself to keep going at it.
It's fantastic. And by the way, Red, you can add voiceover artists to your list of things that you do now.
But in the persistence payoff, that woodpecker is pretty persistent. I mean, they talk about being as tough as woodpecker looks. It's that persistence. That woodpecker is just pecking away like crazy, on and on. I mean, so a perfect example of having an animal, a visual icon to match the persistence and the payoff. So I think maybe intuitive, I don't know, but you picked a really good animal for that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try not to be annoying like a woodpecker, but I try to keep going at it. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Kimberly, for being here. You're welcome to stay. Dr. Lord, you are actually the final guest that we have today. Megan Samuels wasn't able to make it. So let me give an introduction to you, and then I hope that you and Kimberly, it sounds like you're already going to connect.
I hope so. Yeah.
Connect also. So Dr. Lord was also referred to us by another team member, Tracy Cram-Perkins, which is, again, I was saying all day today how exciting it is when people are referred. And she is the show host of the Compassion Project. She is an executive leadership coach. She's an author. She's a facilitator. She's a speaker. And what I really like so much is that you are talking about topics that people don't want to talk about. Quiet quitting, for example.
Yeah.
You have some really powerful discussions and shows that you also, I think, were one at the top. I don't know if it was for the year or something recent. Do you remember?
There were a couple times, yeah. What a privilege and an honor to have that. I think, wow, people really are interested in these topics. I think it's so timely right now. So, yeah, lot to unpack in this particular area. So,
well, thank you again for being here. Let's take your 15 minutes of fame and tell the audience how you can bring them value.
Okay, well, I'll do my best, and I apologize for any background noise today. I am in a contractor office where I serve as a fractional CHRO a couple times a week for a couple hours. So I'm not in my normal space today. So might be a little bit of background noises. I'm right in the heart of the old downtown Tacoma. So, but yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn, and for the show, all the great shows that you bring, and for giving me the opportunity to have a platform to talk about how trauma is really all around us. So as Dr. Jacalyn mentioned, I'm the hostess of the Compassion Project, and my goal is really to bring to light, bring to reality realization that trauma is all around us all the time. And sometimes we don't know it. It's kind of like akin to being in the spider web, right? With not really knowing where you are in the big scheme of things, but knowing that something is not right. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that right now, that something is just not right. So let's talk just a few examples. The frequency of music has been changed to be a very discordant frequency to our bodies. And when we think about the fact that our bodies are made up of at least 75% water, think about how those discordant frequencies are causing physical trauma to us at a cellular or molecular level. We have architecture is in the style now where it's very popular to use what's called brutalism. Yes, you heard me right. If you haven't listened to one of the shows I did earlier, I showed examples of this, and it is actually called brutalism architecture. And so one more way where we just see this, it's an assault of the physical senses through the visual sense that we have in what we see. And when we're surrounded by these things daily, it really does take a toll on us. And everything is frustrating, it seems like these days. My husband and I were talking about this last night, where it's just a problem that you have, and yet there's no way to find resolution to that problem. And so that can be very frustrating. I've heard of folks who just say, well, it's $20. I'm just going to walk away and give up the $20 because it's so much more frustrating to actually have to do something to try and get the $20 back. It's easier to just walk away. I actually just had a situation with a cell phone that I had to return, and I won't mention the provider's name, but it was a $1,500 cell phone, and they were telling me that I stole the phone and just sent back an empty box, and they were going to charge us, actually I think it was $1,700, and there didn't seem to be any way to get a resolution around this. It was just, no, you must have stolen it. So that is yet another way that we experience financial trauma. And then, of course, we all globally experienced COVID. And even if we thought that there wasn't any instances of trauma that we experienced, I bet if you sat back and really thought about it, there were probably ways in which that experience was very traumatic for you, or at least minimally traumatic. So it is all around us, and the whole idea of the Compassion Project is to have some of these difficult, tough, challenging, edgy conversations to really identify it, expose it, because that's the only way that we can kind of come through that web of entanglement, is to kind of go through it, come through it, and find ways and opportunities to bring ourselves some self-compassion, so that we can bring some self-compassion or general compassion for others all around us who are struggling and suffering. And if you walk down any street, if you go into any city, you can see it. You can see individuals who clearly have mental health issues. They're walking down the streets and having conversations with someone who is not there. I've seen this multiple times. We see the homeless population, homeless levels are just exploding. And now, of course, we're all experiencing what's happening in California. Even though we're not there physically experiencing it, we can all imagine the pain and suffering that those folks must be going through. Even still, North Carolina, the folks that are in North Carolina are still really struggling as well. Oh, I'm sorry about that. like I said, in a new space and trying to live in a new environment, which can be a little traumatic as well. So that's what the Compassion Project does, is we try to really unpack and examine and have those conversations to bring this to life. So how do I define trauma? I don't use the traditional medical or technical psychological definition of trauma. So some folks don't necessarily agree with this, but I think when we explore the idea of trauma from this definition, it makes a lot more sense in terms of the conversations that I bring to the show. So the definition that I use is repeated and prolonged incidents that are often of an interpersonal nature. And so it's akin to 1,000 cuts. It could be a whole flock of woodpeckers, going with Kimberly's analogy, a whole flock of woodpeckers or different birds that are just constantly taking a little peck at you. And it really can be wearing down. It wears down the soul, the psyche, the mind, the emotions, even it has a physical impact on us. So having the opportunity to talk about some of these things, bring them to life, call it out for what it is, I think is really powerful. And it allows us to enter into a new space where we can really begin to have compassion, grace, kindness, empathy for everyone. Certainly, I think probably one of the most global challenges that we have right now is just this flat out ability to be kind to one another. So when we do experience words, emotions, thoughts that can be negative, they actually can, it impacts us not only psychologically, but it impacts us physiologically as well. And so we have a myriad of things that happen to us. Our brain chemistry changes. We change experiences at the molecular or cellular level that impact us physically. So there's a lot of reactions that can occur. So how does this all relate to the work that I do in terms of coming into organizations and helping them function better through my business, which is Archetype Learning Solutions? And at the heart of it is making sure that we have organizations that are human-centered. So really making sure that we are taking care of our team members, our employees, as much as I don't like the word employee. That's the word that everybody knows. It's what we associate with. So how do we take care of our team members? And we are certainly seeing a ton of trauma that exists within organizations right now. A lot of that trauma goes back to what we know. A lot of it is based on the principles of what was called scientific management. And that was really the prevailing thought of kind of the Victorian era or the post-industrial era, where it was all hail the machine, the machinery, the equipment. It was all new, it was bright, it was shiny. It was a very innovative way of making industry kind of come to life and mass producing products. We know from that era that there were children who worked long days, 10, 12-hour days sometimes. There were people who had amputations. We know there was a period in which the match girls, the matchmakers, experienced something called phossy jaw, when the phosphorus that they were using, the chemicals that they were using without any protection, actually leached into the skin and attacked what is called or considered the short bones. So oftentimes they would lose the bone mass in their jaws. So that's kind of the model of modern organizations that we are still working through right now, is this idea that it's all about the task and the productivity. And that model, that very outdated model, really needs to change, because we still see just a ton of trauma in the workplace. So that's the work that I do professionally, is try to bring compassion, kindness, empathy into the workplace, where our employees, our team members, our humans are treated with kindness and their voice can be heard. And that usually always begins with leadership, making sure that leaders are really bringing their best self into the organization so that the team members, their employees, can be at their best self. So that's me. That's what I do. And I would love it if you could join in on the conversations that we have. As I said, they're sometimes kind of edgy, sometimes out there, sometimes a little bit in the woo, at least hoping for going forward into this year. And love to have you be part of the conversation. And Dr. Jacalyn and USA Global TV, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's really been, it certainly has been a stretch for me. I never, even a year ago, thought that I would be doing live TV. Live shows. So
you do it so well. You've had a couple of opportunities where your guests, they had technology problems, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. And not everybody can do that, Doctor. So I'm just letting you know that you should be very proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. I credit 30 years of being in front of folks and having to improvise oftentimes. Yeah, those are not fun solo conversations. I don't enjoy those for sure.
Well, you do them really well. So we're actually on your website, which I just want to give people the name if they're listening on an audio only platform. I want to spell it out. I'll spell it slowly. Get your pen ready. It is ARCHTYPELERNINGSOLUTIONS.com. All right. So what can people expect to see when they come to your website?
They can expect to see a little bit about what I do. I don't like to think of myself as a coach or consultant. I like to think of myself more as a researcher. I continue to do research in the topics of learning and development and what makes transitioning into leadership difficult. And that usually is because people just make this assumption that, well, I've given you the information, you were a bum in a seat, go do. And learning, especially adult learning, is much more sophisticated than just sitting through a classroom. And that's something else that we need to do, is really dispel that myth that just because I sat in a classroom, I'm suddenly going to know how to do something. It's especially true when we come back into a situation where we see bad behavior that's repeated. And our brains, through something called mirror neurons, will mimic behavior that we've been exposed to over time, especially when we see that behavior rewarded through promotion or a higher pay rates. So that's a lot of the work that I do in my research. My books include ways to connect at a more deeper level. That's my book, Focused Moments, as well as my new book that was just out this year called Engaging Your Employees. And that's really just finding simple and free ways to connect with our team members that really leads to higher engagement. It's not the party, it's not the parking garage, it's not the fun things that cost money. It's free and it's from the heart. And that's how we best engage folks. So, and then the other thing I like to do is take all of that and produce materials and tools and products that our folks in organizations can use to make a better climate for their team members. So that's what they'll find.
One-stop shopping for you, that is for sure. We've got your playlist here for the Compassion Project. So are you open to people booking in, or is it by invitation only to be a guest on your show?
Oh my goodness, no, feel free. If you've got a hot topic that you'd like to talk about, a way to expose trauma that's we're experiencing and living through, but we aren't able necessarily to define it, please feel free to book a show. I'd love to find out more. So love to hear from you. Yeah, what's going on out there in ways that, like I said, we can't fix it if we don't know about it.
Exactly. Well done. And here I thought we were showing it before, but apparently I wasn't showing it before. So here's the actual playlist, the Compassion Project. So please do go over and go to our YouTube channel and check out this playlist. All right. Doctor, thank you so much for being here today. Have you met Red before?
I have not. No, pleasure to meet you, Red.
Fantastic. I see some areas of commonality between the two of you as well. So I hope that you'll connect and see how the two of you can collaborate.
I would love to. I love to collaborate. I find it so, I have no words right now. Apparently my brain is not functioning yet this morning, but I just find it so intriguing when people are like, no, I don't collaborate. Why?
Oh, I know. I don't
close off to new ways of doing things or making connections. It's very intriguing to me.
Well, to that point, what's interesting to me is when I had a television show in a television station, and I had a radio show, and the owner of the TV station said that I couldn't do both TV and radio because he didn't want me being on a different platform. And I'm like, really? Goodbye. But I want people to be on as many platforms as they can. Get the word out, educate people. You don't owe anyone. It's crazy. Red, what are you thinking? I see you shaking your head.
Two things real quickly, Daniel. What time is your show so people can know what? I don't think if you covered it, I missed it.
Thank you. It is 9 a.m. Friday mornings. It's usually towards the middle to the late part of the month. Dr. Jacalyn, you might have a better idea on the actual time, or not the time, but the day. But it's always on a Friday, and it's always about 9 a.m.
Yeah, so that's 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Thank you.
9 a.m. Central
time, yes,
time, noon Eastern time, and 5 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Central European time.
Okay,
Thank you.
So the third or fourth Friday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Okay.
Yeah, usually about there. I think we had it set up for every fourth Friday, and as the calendars are not always aligned with that, it's kind of shifted here and there, but it is always on a Friday. Yeah.
But I've noticed over time, being in different industries, the team dynamics at a higher level, you go down a level, you go down a level. And the hardest thing at each level, no matter which one I was at, the technical problems solve themselves over time, but the people problems last forever.
Yes.
And they're most difficult to deal with because they don't rise to the surface for a leader to see. And sometimes you hear about it from someone else, and it's kind of awkward to go in and talk to. It's interesting. The problems are there, but they disrupt everything, but they are never surfaced enough for someone in charge to really do something. So I applaud you for what you're doing. I think it's great. So thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yes, they are always there. And what's even worse, Red, to your point, is when they are surfaced and then nobody does anything about it because they think it's either going to resolve itself, or it's ridiculous, or it's not really happening. And I think one thing we have not done a good job of in our education with leaders and managers is helping them understand the human dynamics that come into play. And we all experience it. We are all human. We may approach things differently, but we are humans, and those human dynamics will come into play. And leaders have to recognize that, and they have to be willing to step in and make course corrections for folks. And that it doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to be in trouble or you're going to be fired. It's helping people work through them. And I've seen this more often than not when leaders just kind of eschew it and say it'll resolve itself or fix itself, or people just need to move on. So it's far bigger than that.
And many times it's not caused by what's going on at work. It could be a divorce. It could be a problem child you have in your family. I had one guy have a DUI. I get a call. I'm not going to be in for 3 days. Cancer. I've had a couple pass away on. It's interesting. None of them were something caused. Yeah, I did have problems with individuals clashing. Those are kind of, you could see those, but it's those ones you bring from home with you that you notice a change over time.
Yes.
So subtle. Is there really something wrong with George? I don't know. And so anyway, I applaud you again on your activity there. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can see a collaboration coming. I love it.
All right. I love it.
All right. Well, we are going to close out the show. Dr. Lord, anything you want to say before you depart today?
Oh, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Everyone's struggling. So just recognize that we just have to be kind to one another. Empathy, compassion, grace, things that we need to bring back. So and really make certain that we're taking care of ourselves first. So that old adage of put your own face mask on the airplane certainly relates to this as well. So, and thank you to USA Global TV and Radio, and certainly thank you to you, Dr. Jacalyn. So,
well, thank you to you, because we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing if it weren't for you and Red and all of our other team members. All right.
Indeed.
Enjoy the rest of your day there.
Thank you. You as well. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Well, Red, another successful reunion show, 2 episodes each year so far. We'll have more in June. And I just want to thank you for taking the time, for being such a good friend, and for always offering to help anywhere that you can. And I know it was, as I said before, it's a little early for you. I didn't want to say it's a little early for me as well. But I think as I've gotten older, I don't find the need to get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. either. So what would you like to leave our audience with before we close out today for this reunion show part 2?
Well, I'm going to steal something from a DJ that used to be here in Houston. He's retired, but he had 2 things he used to say all the time. One is not as germane today, and I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's important. It says that he used to say at least twice a week, 3 times a week. He says, one mother can take care of 10 kids, but 10 kids can't take care of one mother. And that is so true today with our culture, our society. It's just, that's the way it is. But the thing he ended every show on, the last words he had on every show, is something that stuck with me. And based on all the conversations we had today, I think there's a lot of good information put out, a lot of wisdom. And I'm going to basically steal his words. And he would say, don't let anybody steal your joy. And when you can take your joy with you and you keep it the rest of the day, I think that's one of the best things that I could leave somebody with today.
Thank you, Red. That is beautiful. How can people reach out to you, and who would be a good client for you?
Anybody who's in any kind of aspect of the book industry, we mentioned earlier, authors, writers, proofreaders, editors, publicists, publishers. If you're in the cover designers, talk to me on the Corner Bookstore Show. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you've been around the block more than a few times. This is an old website. It's being updated. I keep being told it's going to be released, going to be released, going to be released. Regardless, it's still coming. So I have a new one that's oriented primarily toward my author field. But on the Wise Ones, all my shows are on Thursday, 11, 12, and 1 o'clock on Thursday Central Time. The Wise Ones, I'm looking for somebody who has business savvy, knows how to brand, knows marketing, knows how to plan effectively, knows how to be successful, has faced tragedy, COVID, laid off, whatever. Lots of things in our lives add to our overall dimension. So I'm looking for someone in that particular area who can come in and provide some wisdom, guidance, lessons learned to my audience. My last show was, again, last show on 1 o'clock on Central Time on Thursdays, every Thursday. It's called Talking Heads, and it's my show, more educational than anything else. And I talk about various aspects of health and wellness, and I derive it from my research into the human body at the cellular level. Chemically speaking, I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat symptoms. You're not fixing the problem, and sometimes the problem gets worse. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dr. Jacalyn, and thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to have 3 shows here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. You're muted, Dr. Jacalyn.
Yes, I know. I got to get my finger back over to the other thing. Thank you so much for being here, Red, and for taking the time out of your day today and also on Sunday and every Thursday.
And I will see you tomorrow and Friday. So
yes,
a couple more days. This way. It's Dr. Jacalyn week with me this week. Anyway, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Bye now.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you to each and every one of you who are watching on the live or on the replay, or you're listening on a podcast platform. I truly, personally want to thank you. And I hope you took away some education today. I know that I did. There's a number of things that I learned that I had no idea about. And also, I would really implore you to reach out to the people who are here today, as well as all of our team members. They're here because they care. They could be doing a lot of other things, believe me. And for Red to show up week after week for 3 years, that really says something. So he's somebody you definitely want to connect with, as well as the other team members that we had here for today. Before we go, I just want to walk you through our YouTube channel, which I did share a little bit earlier. If you missed it, let me just go through it again, because this is where you can watch our shows So here it is. It's USA Global TV and Radio. You see, we currently have 61.3 thousand subscribers, 5,300 videos, and there's a lot of information here. You can see right now that the reunion show is running. Here it is. It's live. So you can watch our shows here on YouTube, which I love because I get real-time information that I can share with our team. But you can also watch on a number of other platforms, including E360 TV, which is a distributor of content, as well as Xizzle TV, which are distributors of content. You can also watch us on Amazon Fire, and you can watch us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I think that's it. So you can come here, you can look for the videos, and they're going to pop up here. Anytime you see this, our logo, these are podcasts. Okay, they're podcasts. We don't do any search engine optimization on podcasts. So whatever you see for number of views, which will really be listening, that's the actual number because there's no search engine optimization. Okay, and then you can come down here and you can see some of our other shows. Again, a lot of these are podcasts. So I like to go over to the live, and the live these are upcoming events. All of these, you can see when they're scheduled for, what the time's going to be. So all of these in the first 3 rows are all upcoming. And then these are our most recent shows. They don't have search engine optimization done yet. It takes about a week for our team to do it. So it's really organic and authentic. So that's why it takes so much time. And as you come down here, you can see the various shows that have the search engine optimization. And obviously, all the number of views are different because there's different people watching from different places. So there are some of the shows that we have. The next thing I want to show you is I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to our other YouTube channel, which is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. And this channel has a completely different audience than the audience on USA Global TV and Radio. So let me present this now. Okay, here it is, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. So here we have 23.3 thousand subscribers and 3,600 videos. So you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute, I thought you have 5,300. I think that's what it was on the other one. This channel was started as a backup channel in case YouTube ever decided to shut us down. And we actually did receive a strike in 2021 because one of our team members went on YouTube and thought it was perfectly fine that anything in the YouTube domain can be shared publicly. But she shared a documentary from NBC on a friend of hers, a very good friend of hers, who lived with the gorillas. And the friend couldn't make it to the interview. So our host decided to run that clip and the screen went black. I got 3 emails, got a strike on the channel. So that meant that I think you could get 3 strikes and then they close you down. But after the first strike, which wears off after you take training and do other things, I thought I'm setting up a second channel so I can have my content in addition to having it on all of the backup drives. So this channel has a different audience, which is mostly women who are in the United States and the United Kingdom. Whereas the other channel, USA Global TV and Radio, is basically mostly males from across the world. So it's kind of interesting. And this channel, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, has no search engine optimization. And the reason for that is it's extremely expensive. So it's costing a fortune for the first channel, and I'm looking forward to having on the second channel, but not quite there yet. Again, the same thing is that anytime you see this logo, that is a video that's been turned into an audio. All right, so before I close out with that, I'm stopping here. I'm just going to go to our website and show you this, and then we will say au revoir for this reunion show. Okay, so here's our website. It's usaglobaltvandradio.com, usaglobaltv.com, drjacalynkerbeck.com. All roads lead here. So once you come here, you'll see across the top, in case you're listening and not watching, home, shows, join us, book your session, our global team services, education, and more. So if you go to the show button, you'll be able to go down and see where we stream and also see our shows. You can watch them from there. I will mention that our shows are not live streamed from our website. Not at the moment because we're working on an app. The next thing is join us. This is if you want to join our team. I just mentioned that Zunette, who is here this morning, she just joined our team as an elevated listener. That's where everybody starts. Everyone becomes an elevated listener, and then they can be a TV show host. So we can stream your content that you've already created. You can host one TV show just to see how you like it. I can host a TV show with you to give, so you get your confidence. You can be an expert presenter like Red on Talking Heads. There's certain qualifications you have to have before you can do that. You can also be a panelist on A Woman's Prerogative. And as I mentioned about elevated listening, we can also stream, produce, market, search engine optimization, your events. You can be a sponsor on our platform, and you can also purchase an edited copy of your video, of your interview, and we can also do press release information for you. So there's that. And then I'm going to finish with Book Your Session. Book Your Session is where you'll come to if you want to be a guest. Now, I have to update this with our team because it says 2024. So in 2025, the same rules apply. You may be a guest on 3 shows in a year. 3. Now, why is that? Because if you're showing up, if you're booking the Wise Ones with Red, and you're coming in once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month, give somebody else a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, let somebody else come in. Let there be some other people. Book in on a different show. And if you are coming back, come in with a new way of presenting your ideas. So in other words, if you're an author and you talk to Red about X, Y, and Z, come in with some other ideas so that you can look at other aspects of what it is you're doing, because we want to constantly promote you and your work and also engage our audience. We don't use a script. Some people will reach out and say, can you send the questions? No, we don't have any questions because we're doing elevated listening. If we have a list of questions, we're going to be focused on getting through those questions instead of actually giving our undivided attention to you. So we create, our team, a safe space for people to share their story. And just today, one of our guests texted me afterwards and said that this person was really scared and nervous, and we made them feel really welcome and they really enjoyed their segment. So you can come back for a 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. interview if you join our team of elevated listeners. So if you join the team by taking my course, The Power of Elevated Listening, then as a team member, you can book in, but the same rules apply. Please don't book in on the same shows. I see a lot of people booking in for the corner bookstore, then they go to the Wise Ones, then they go back to the corner bookstore, which there's no problem with that, but please come with something fresh, something new, something exciting, a different perspective, so that Red, for example, can showcase you in the proper light so that we're not just discussing the same things over and over again. Okay, so here's where you can book in. Here's Red Show, the Wise Ones. Okay, so you're going to click on this, and then you're going to look and you're going to say, oh, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure there's a guest for tomorrow, but it shows that there's an opening tomorrow, and you would go here, you would click here, and then you would click book. And then over here, you would fill in this information, your name, your email address, your phone number. Now, in the 3 to 5 topics, please be concise. Remember, it is a television show. It is not a monologue. So you're going to be going back and forth with the show host. 3 to 5, I would say I'm going to change it to 2 to 3 topics. So therefore, we know as hosts how to really dig into the areas that you're interested in focusing on. Also, how did you find us? So if you were sent by a publisher, if it was by a publicist, if it was through a friend, please give us that information because we want to thank those people. And most importantly, please email us your bio and your social media links to info@usaglobaltv.com. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. If you are a business owner, kindly set up a LinkedIn profile for yourself. It makes so much sense because our team will go there looking for information. If you're not on LinkedIn, it's kind of a red flag. You know, this person owns a business, but they're not on LinkedIn. And I've said this before, but typically to me, it means they probably have a full-time job. They just don't want people to know they're an author or they're an inventor or whatever the case may be. And if that's the case, let us know. We understand. Just put it in the email that you're going to send over. Now, for me, I host several shows here. This is the newest one, Creating a World of Possibilities. And I decided to do this because I wasn't hosting very many shows anymore because I spend a lot of time building the business from the back end. And I'm also now, I started scouting sites again for an in-person television station. I put it on hold, and there's an opportunity that I have to look at. So I now want to get back out interviewing people. So if you'd like to be a guest on my show, Creating a World of Possibilities, it's Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern time and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So go ahead and follow that process and book in. Now, when you come down to the first page, there's See All. So go to the second page and keep scrolling. And some of these shows, I really want to point this out. I hope I can find it. I think it's at the end. Some of these shows, here it is, the Persistence Payoff Show with Kimberly Schaefer. She was just here presenting. That show is by invitation only. So please don't go there and just decide to book in. You have to get approval from Kimberly because she's looking for guests who have certain backgrounds and certain experiences. And that's what she wants on her show. So it's her show. She can have whoever she wants. It's the same thing with the rest of our team. Anyone can come forward and say, no, I don't want the registration open to the public. I want to keep it limited. So there you go. That's what we have for the different shows that you can book in on. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My contact information is here. It is not there. It's somewhere. It's USA Global TV and Radio. Just go to contact us or info at USA Global TV and Radio. All right, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're going to close out. We've got some new sponsorships that are coming, by the way, so I'm excited for that. But let's close out. I've got a couple of sponsorships that I am really distributing as often as possible because I want people to, especially with what's going on in the world, realize that when you learn how to listen to someone else, when you give that gift of listening, we've heard it here today over and over again, you could change someone's life by being there for them and just listening instead of providing solutions, judging them, interrupting them, and stealing the stage from them. Let's take a look. Thank you for being here with us. Stay safe, and please be kind to yourself and to others. Bye.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.